I had spicy kimchi noodles before stream. I had them dry because I just didn't feel like cooking them. So I'm sniffing. Oh god, the spam texts and the spam emails and the spam this and the spam that. Don't even like spam. Let's get this camera to look a little bit more. All we can see is burn the subs right now. It's highlighted there. I guess I maybe need to put some of the lights over to the other stuff. And maybe we keep it like this. We can keep it like this. A little bit more mysterious. Yeah. You got the first spot. Beef Supreme. Man, I wish I was having Beef Supreme. I've been able to like go and get lunch for a little while because this dog. Because of the cute puppy. She's adorable though. She's worth it. But still, I've been limited in what I've been able to accomplish. Take a break, we'll wait. I'm gonna go get Taco Bell right now. I keep seeing wait, that's out of focus. Huh, I guess it won't go in focus. Huh, weird. I keep seeing stuff for like getting like a DoorDash to get Taco Bell. Like the only Taco Bell near me, it's like a 20-minute trip one way to get all the way out there. So it's like, yeah. And then it costs like $60 for a couple tacos. Yeah, no thanks. Not doing that. Yeah, by sheer distance. God, I'm looking scrappy. I need to do a once over with a pair of scissors. I'm scrappy right now because it's like humid and it's kind of warm. What's the forecast supposed to be? Hold on, check that in another window. Forecast dial. I found a project that had a bunch of different colored 3mm LEDs on it, and I'm wondering where my supplies of those went. I think I have a bin. Yeah, I do. I have a bin that's full of LEDs. We'll have to take a look at that in a minute. Keeper of Maps, 33 months. You always negate. Yeah, no wait, BTS is in there. So Yanif BTS. I can't. What is this? never give a streamer a puzzle. Streamers cannot solve puzzles, even the most basic ones. It's like in D&D. Never give your players anything more complicated than what like a 5-year-old could solve, because it'll completely tank them. Same with streamers. My brain is in so many other different directions that a simple acronym is enough to just kill me. Yeah, I'll just burst into ash. You see how pretty I am. It helps. Stop training Willow to kill turts. No guarantees. We bought this. Thank you for the 28 months, by the way. And 33 months for Keeper of Maps. Thank you both for the subs. Holy shit. That's a lot of months. One of our favorite toys is like this little, like, it's like a bag with 3 holes in it, and then it has 3 little stuffed turtles in it, and they all squeak. And the bag used to squeak, but she broke it. She will play with the bag with the 3 holes in it and, you know, stuff her snout in there. Hunting instincts, I guess. Herding instinct. Just dog instincts. And then she will shake it violently and the turtles will fly out. And then she'll grab the individual turtles and tug of war with those. So she's fairly violent to turts. I can't help you, Turtle Flower. I just can't help you. I need to set up the mill. I need to put like figure out the jig for the mill so that I can run all of these old Omnipods through it and get all of the all the PCBs out. There's not really any other parts that I can salvage in the thing. They're all so specialized. Unless I really need like a brass collar or something. But I want all of these circuit boards. I'm gonna have like a big pile of them by the time I'm done. I don't know if you guys would want to do an Omnipod harvesting stream, but video the turts shake. Maybe I could do that. If I can capture it. I mean, I don't want to let you guys know like what all my rooms look like in this house. Willow's typically in the posh room. We switched out the carpets from being like utility carpets for the summer to being like posh carpets. It's weird, it's weird, it's weirdly posh. I mean, you guys saw the posh room when I streamed the brewing. Like, what am I ever gonna do with a particular spring like this? I never, you know, you don't put springs in DIY projects. Professional engineers put springs in projects because they're fucking like evil. They get a check in the mail from Satan every time that they put a spring into a project. What if we put a spring here? I'm gonna make bank on this commission. I wonder if I can also save the memory wire if I ever want to do something with memory wire. What would I do with memory wire though? Pull something. I'm gonna have tons of strands of memory wire by the time I'm done, and I'll put them in a bin and then never do anything with them again. Something to think about. Yeah, it's like, you want to pull on something just a little bit? Maybe you could use memory wire for that. I've never had a use for it. You know, I think they made memory wire like muscles at one point, and you had to run water through them in order to cool them so that they would retract. But then you have opposing muscles, and the memory wire just like kind of retracts. It's like a tough hair that I got to get rid of. Yeah, I've got so many pods. I kind of want to go through and yeah, I don't know. Hold on, wait. We can find this. We can find this on the internet. Oh, Octoprint no longer trusts me. Let's see. Huh. Using it to control an airplane? Neat. Just like a very light glider. Where's the airplane? That's kind of cool. God, it's like 75 in here. I'm dying. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be able to use the amount that I have. The amount that I have is very, very small. I mean, look at the size of the... If those are memory wires. I still see a servo. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Lying to me. How big is this piece? Oh my god, that's a huge piece of it. Yeah, we're dealing with like a microscopic sized piece. You'd have to put a lot of current through that to make it do that. 75 in Texas. No, it's supposed to be cold. It's just not, we're not getting appropriate weather here. I was gonna pull up a forecast actually. Hold on. Forecast. Face cam. There we go. Oh, it's supposed to be up to 67 today. 67 tomorrow. 64 Thursday. Huh. All right, so we should be in the 60s. It's just really hot in here. I don't know if I've got it in me to fully reverse engineer that this chip, figure out exactly what it is, because you got to deal with like Bluetooth stuff too, because there's a whole radio contained within this thing. It's gonna really require me to get down to the nitty-gritty with the chip and figure out how it works. I guess I gotta at some point, you know? I'm gonna have a whole pile of these things. Every 2 days I get another one. custom drivers for every Bluetooth chip. I know, it's like what registers are going to be responsible for doing what with Bluetooth? Or I ignore the Bluetooth and get everything else reverse engineered. But it's going to be very close to another family of products that has a Bluetooth modem in it. There's a hair in my water. Damn it. I need to get it out with, like, I don't know. I don't have any tools that can get into the bottom of this glass to get this hair out. It's a willow hair, I can tell. I'm not that blonde. Son of a bitch. How do I get it out without contaminating my water? Nope. No, it's not one of mine. Mine are more thick than hers. The dog has very thin hairs. I gave her a bath the other day, and yesterday actually. I should have gotten a picture of her all wet, because she gives you puppy dog eyes when she's wet. She retains her mass when she's wet. She's not one of those dogs that poofs down, but she was just hilarious. A very good sport for the bath. She just kept trying to leave. She just kept being like, well, I guess we're done here. I'll leave now, and just kind of like get out of the tub. And I'm like, no, you're back in. So she still smelled like wet dog for most of the time though. But now she's super duper fluffy. A 3D print a tool to get the hair out. Just drink the hair. Just in a complete fucking move of dominance. Ceramic tweezers. I don't think these have the grab ability to get the hair out of there. These I know I've never used, so they should be moderately clean. I guess I have used these before. Well, here goes nothing. I lost sight of the hair. There it is. I don't have the grip strength. Oh, I got it. There it is. Yeah, it's like invisible. You guys wouldn't have been able to see it. Design and print a tool to get the rabbit hair out. Oh wait, hold on. Rabbit hair, the dog hair out. Boot up Fusion 360. Move that over there. Move that over here. We might need this program. I'm not totally certain. Oh, we're on that monitor today, Fusion? Okay. Ah, wrong one. Oh, now we're on the other monitor. All right, let's jump over to the other monitor then. Jeez. Autodesk is not exactly great with multi-monitors. I think what Autodesk really wants you to do is get an ultra-wide. I think this whole program is made for an ultra-wide. A lot of Discord servers. Yeah, it you know, I have a large group of online friends and acquaintances, and there was a period of time when everyone and their dog started a Discord, so don't let it creep up on you. I know, right? Friends, what are those? You know, it feels rude not to be in somebody's Discord sometimes. None of the creator people that I know are in my Discord. None of them, not a single one. I'm in all of theirs. I guess we know the power dynamic. I guess Gonad is in mine. There's a few that are actually in mine, which is nice. What are we on? We're not doing the computer. I was working on the computer this weekend. We're doing Burn the Subs. Which was easier to organize all this stuff. Oops, that's the wrong one. That's bits stuff, not burn the subs. I think burn the subs, did I spell it all out? Admin, optic, phone, RC cars. No. Admin. Really, these projects aren't supposed to be in here. These should be in the root directory. No. None of these. Where the hell's my stuff? Oh, right. It was right in front of me. God. What is it like to be this dumb? All right, so we are looking at the control panel. Now we're going to be building stuff today, so it's not really going to be, it's not so much going to be, what you call it, modeling. Unless we desperately need, like, a particular type of bracket or something like that. I mean, I would like to have something holding on to all the stuff that we're going to be wiring up, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see how this panel goes. Are we downloading a new version? Oh, yes, we are, hence my broken up video. Yep. Plays wonders with the frame rates when everything wants to download suddenly. There's another stash of LEDs that I would like to try looking at, but we're gonna build the board for it today. Blue is probably looking like the best bet. Blue or orange? Blue or orange, because I don't need it to be bright. I just need it to illuminate, and it's a little spotty with the illumination. The illumination is a little bit weird, but it'll look pretty good. It'll look pretty good. The cameras favor particular shades and stuff too. I guess in the distance they'll just look like little illuminated ovals, but and if any of them turn off, then it's a problem. I'm wondering if we need to have like a different type of status circuit on the 5 volts and the 12 volts and the 24 volt. Well, the 24 volts has its own internal OK lights. It's just I wonder if I need to make something that's super sensitive to voltage levels and have that trigger the warning light on and off. So we'll look at a couple things for that as well. I'm just doing this ahead of time because it wants me to restart now. Ah, yes, 99%. There it is. Restart. So the hovercraft regional championships happened today. They got all the leaves out of the neighborhood, which is pretty crazy. Oh yeah, you can actually see the follows over there. Hey, thank you for the follow. When I show this camera view. The hovercraft regional championships. So all the leaves are gone in the neighborhood, except that it rained. So as soon as they were done getting rid of the leaves, there's a pile under every tree. Every tree has its own specific pile directly under it now. Everything else is leafless. Kind of silly. I know they go around like twice a season to do it. So they'll come around now and then they'll do another one like after Thanksgiving. And that'll be it. Even though leaves are like the most biodegradable thing on the entire fucking planet, you know? You just run a mower over it. Our mower at my apartment a million years ago was quote unquote a mulching mower because somebody got a big sheet of MDF and just screwed it over the bag receptacle. So they just blocked it off. So what would happen is you'd be mowing the lawn and then the thing would fucking stall because a giant loaf of grass had formed right where the bag is supposed to be. And then you'd have to pick up the mower and slam it down and it would puke up this giant loaf of grass that you could then start your mower and hit little by little as you were going around. That would help distribute it out and then you could continue mowing. It was an interesting thing. I also learned that, what do you call it? Gasoline is fairly caustic to a bunch of different surfaces that you might use to try to seal a fuel cup. That was my little adventure. The carburetor had this little fuel cup, and so it needed to seal around the cup, and I guess there must have been some kind of an O-ring that I just didn't have, so I tried a bunch of different material on it, and each material that I tried would fail. It had like a gasket. It needed a gasket. I probably could have gone on like, I don't know, any old website and bought like a $2 gasket for the whole thing. But I know you use rubber. I know this. but this is me 10 years ago. And I was just using any old thing that I found. I used I used foam at one point and that deteriorated and then it got stuck in the carb. So I'd take a pin tool and poke it out of the carb and get that working again. It's like every time I used the mower, I had to like bargain with it to get it to work again. Oh, this is nice. I like that all my parts files are coming up very nicely, especially since there's UI elements on it and everything. Very nice of them to have that work. I can totally do exactly what I need to do now in this software without this thing coming up. Hi, it's me, your parts. What's up, Gio-misan? Misan. Okay, what, this is neat and new, and I like this. This is great. This is great. What am I supposed to do? E10 fuel came around and mower carbs are all effed if you leave fuel in it for months. Yeah, that's stuff. It was a fun mower though. I had fun. It was one of those mowers where when you push it forward, the wheels start moving forward, which helped me out because there was a pretty steep hill that I had to mow. But it would just be like every now and then you have to just tilt it forward to make sure that everything falls into the blades. My summer mower. Yeah, pretty much. Guitar pedal, but I don't know what to do. There's a website, and I don't know it. OctoJ, the moderator, who still updates my end card, but hasn't been around for a long time. He had a website that had a bunch of different really good guitar pedals in it, and you could build them yourself, and they had all the schematics and everything. And then it also had it also had, what was the program that was it? OBS? No, this one. I'm just closing it and opening it again. I don't know what the fuck that, if I can't get to my stuff, what am I supposed to do? Let's open it up again. But yeah, it even had like those schematics that have the PCB and show you what you need to wire and where you need to put stuff. I don't remember the site. You'll have to do a little bit of Googling to figure it out. I would like to get into some audio projects. I would like to have all of the compression and the frequency filtering of this microphone done in a box that would accept 2 of them, so that I can have a guest star here. I could have Julian here and he can have his own microphone. We didn't build a second circuit, but I've sort of got all the stuff for it. We did that analog audio stuff a little bit, and we determined that phantom power does not have enough current to operate the types of stuff that we wanted to run. It won't really run a full FPGA if I want it, and the A to D and the D to A and stuff like that. We had very, very limited amounts of current. I wanted to do it analog, but we couldn't power everything and get that to work out, unfortunately. We got some decent results though, but what I would like to do is in that little box for the microphone, run an FPGA. So you take digital to analog, FPGA, analog to digital, and it becomes a very capable filtration device, so that we would be able to have a really nice, I don't think I could make a UI for it. I'd have to do just like a settings file, but then I'd be able to tune everything properly. Looks like now everything is coming up. That's nice of it to do. But I haven't had the time for that. And unfortunately, I mean, Julian was asking, he wants to work on a project and get on stream, but we have projects that we need to do, and it kills me, man. I want to get him on stream. I want to get him on camera. He's always fun to have around. He might get busy though, so we gotta make sure that we think about something that I can work on him with that's not going to totally swamp me. You know, I'm not going to be completely engulfed in that, because he just wants to like play music on stream for like 100 people. And you know, it's always nice to have him around. Anyway, this is yeah, so this is pulled up. Good. Oh, we can go back to face cam. Fall is felled. It is very fall-y around here now. We had a Halloween where we got no trick-or-treaters. We're in kind of like a little neighborhood here, and while I know everyone because of the dog, because everyone has dogs, there are no kids. So there was like 1 or 2 school-aged kids in the neighborhood, so we just don't get trick-or-treaters. And I think a lot of people in this neighborhood fled to Florida. I think they travel away from winter, which is an odd thing to do, to be honest. I love winter. I don't know how people could want to escape it. To each his own. It's not like I'm never gonna own property. These friggin' people have 2 houses. Must be nice to own land. Oh, there's my tape. I was looking for that. We need to do some work on the mill, too. The mill's gonna be a thing once we get Burn the Subs into a software sort of, into the software realm, because I need this thing to work again. If you recall, the X-axis stopped working, and it's high time that I basically just completely disassemble this thing and put it all back together. That's about where we're at with it, because rust is starting to get to it. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Yeah, how can you not love seasons? Search for the Z Fuzz Factory. That's stuff from many years ago. Yeah, I don't know much about guitar pedals. Part of my whole initiative to clean up around here. I mean, this mill, there's a lot of weird stuff that I've done to it that needs to be kind of packed in and cleaned, and then I would like to find a weight. I need something like a 100-pound, I think, weight to go on the back. No, 50 pounds. So 50 to 70-pound weight, and then I put a rail up here with some V pulleys and some just metal cable that would then provide a counterweight for the Z-axis, and then that can lead into automating it so that I can finally CNC that mill. And we know what computer is going to be CNCing the mill. That's going to be that, I can't get to it, it's the Windows box, the industrial Windows box. That's the Windows 98 machine. What mill do you have? It's technically a Sieg X3, but this one comes from Grizzly. So it's a Grizzly Go463. It's a very basic little mill. I got it for about $1,500, and that $1,500 came directly from Reddit because I won something called the Millionaire Makers Contest, where they decided that if everyone donates to like one guy, they could make a millionaire. And so it was free to enter. You just had to leave a comment in the chat, and then I won. I was one of the winners. That's where I made that work verb design account. That's why I came up with that. But it's not a very catchy name, so I stuck with Oh Bother. Which apparently works because Twitch is the Wild West, so I guess that works out. I should have done like Pepper or like some household object that people Google. Yeah, it was an industrial. Oh no, it was Windows 7, wasn't it? It was Windows 7. It's like an industrial fanless computer that has a cellular modem in it. So it's for basically putting in some remote piece of equipment that needs a computer, and then you can check up on it from afar. It's one of these industrial jobbies, so it's supposed to be like super durable and, you know, can sit in a hot cabinet all day and not explode. But I have no use for it. It's like a really expensive computer. Like if you look them up, they're very expensive even just on eBay. But it's totally useless to me when Raspberry Pis exist, right? I don't need anything like that. I'd rather do, and for that Windows machine, I would rather put a Raspberry Pi, or sorry, put Linux on it and run it that way, because Linux will be able to handle all the peripherals that I throw at it. I'll be able to put like a Wi-Fi modem in it and stuff. But then we can run Linux CNC from that. That's the idea anyway. I don't know when we're gonna get to that. I have so many other projects, you know? So many projects. We're trying to make progress with Burn the Subs because we need this one back. This one is supposed to be the host of all the other stuff. This is the reason that anything exists in this shop, is to make that project. So I'm gonna find those LEDs. I had a list, and I looked at the list the other day, and we are not working on the same projects that are on the list. We've moved so far on from that list. Ah, this song is smooth. There they are. Indicator lights. Looks like we've used up a lot of orange. I don't know what yellow would look like. Yellow yellow is caution though. And we're not gonna RGB these. But yeah, we'll figure out. We'll figure out what the PCB looks like, and then we'll see if we can get LEDs behind the different areas. The should-do list and the interesting list. Okay, true. Yep, that's the point. That's a good point. I would continue to slack off and push burn the subs into the imaginary future if we weren't nose down on the project right now and making sure that I work on this thing. Burn the subs gets all the good parts. It gets all the good design. Gets all of my time. Because it needs to go back up. It's high time that this project gets some headway under its headwind, so that it gets wind under its sails. What is the nope, it's gone. I don't remember how to communicate effectively. Stream's over. Anyway, hot damn, that's bright. What are you doing so bright? Settings are all jacked up, probably. Yeah, it's all washed out. Hold on. Set up. Microscope set up. Do you think I should start streaming? Sure. Go for it, man. The more the merrier. I think everybody should be streaming electronics projects. I think everyone should do it. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and it helps focus you. And that means there's more good content of this stuff on the internet. Go make your own audience. Bring them over here. I have, over the years, because of just the way that I've sort of changed the way that I work on projects, you know? I originally started this because I need something, you know? I need something to fill the day. I'm in a situation where my own medical care changes if I make too much money, and if I make too much money, I can't afford my own medical care. It's a really great place to be. Unless I pop off, and I pop off hard, like millions, like thousands of viewers hard, I have to do it this way. So I'm here. I need to do something, and so I'm pursuing my own interests by doing these streams. Trying to bring a gimmick to Twitch and maybe get discovered. Very little amount of electronics content. Well, because it's very difficult to do like this. It's a little bit more cerebral. There's things that I focus on and ways that I cater to my audience and work on these projects that make them interesting and zany and fun. But before I stream, I always think about the beginning, middle, and end. Plot is important, and games provide plot. Games provide plot. So in the pursuit of what I do, a lot of my setup has been catered directly towards the style that I stream. In addition to that, what the subject matters that I'm hitting on are things that I think about at least a little bit in advance. I do a lot of stuff on the fly, I have to admit. I'm not that organized, but I do a lot of this. I do a lot of this stuff on the fly, but I try to have sort of a conclusion at the end of stream, and I'm actually pretty distressed when I'm not able to do that. But I mean, everybody has a different style, and I would love to see others on this platform, because I don't know how other people do their thing. I don't watch this content on Twitch. I wish there was more of it, because I love the people who make this kind of content on Twitch. The most I'll do is spend a couple hours, more than a couple hours, but I'll watch Flatulent Gonad and like a couple other people a lot. And that's just because, you know, they do something very similar and they're active here, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know what a lot of the other content creators do, and I don't seek them out, because every single time I try to watch that kind of stuff and I find myself enjoying myself, I will start to basically steal their personality as my own. I'll start to steal their personality, and that's not a good scene. I want my own memes, you know? Gonad, yeah, Gonad's awesome. He's good people. Bum, 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 bum. This is DJ Lee Mages, question mark, from the Philadelphia Experiment, and I'm stealing his mix from Mixcloud because I'm an awful, terrible thief. I've also partied at this guy's house before. I think what I need to do with those lamps, I have brackets that'll hang them. I kind of think that they should flank burn the subs, so I need to get down to the wall, figure out where the joists are, and then I can put in the bracket. Maybe I can just do anchors for the brackets, but then I can hang those 2 wire lamps, and what I'd love to be able to do is put something that illuminates inside of them. And it would be nice if it actually did stuff. Don't tell me what camera you think I should be on, because I'm doing exactly the camera that I think, because I'm talking about the lamps that are literally in the center of this shot. I've been doing this for a while. Setups are very difficult to get going. Getting a quality setup is getting easier and easier, but there's a sliding scale of how much do you want to spend versus how much do you want to engineer. And for this kind of content, live actual stuff happening, it's hard for me to tell people where to go and how to start. I get that question a lot, is where did you get all that stuff? And it's like, I got this chip from like a cabinet at the FBI's electronics lab. I got that because a friend sent me it. 3 Mares sent me that. I got that on Amazon. I got the box at Home Depot. Like this is from Grizzly.com. I don't. You know, people ask where you get all that stuff, and it's like I have more stuff, and I've been collecting stuff for nigh on 30 years of my life. It's wild. Like the microscope. I get asked about the microscope a lot too, and the microscope is a Logitech C920 in a case that somebody in Croatia makes. It's an aluminum case from Kurokesu that goes to a C-mount. So I bought an eBay C-mount to Nikon adapter, and then I got a Nikon lens from a camera that I bought in 2011. And somehow that gets me an extremely professional, high frame rate, good looking microscope with a standoff distance of about a mile. Shit happens, so does accumulation. I'm de-accumulating right now. I'm going through stuff. I'm going through the bins for projects that are at the other end of the shop, and I'm actually trying to pare them down and organize them a little bit so that generic parts don't end up in specific project bins. It's a whole thing. And I have to constantly do it. I need to go through everything that's sitting behind this monitor, because that's all my parts storage, and get rid of stuff. If I haven't used it in 6 years, it should probably go, if it's not a museum quality piece of ancient electronics. Oh boy, it's a whole thing. I'm trying to reduce around here. And I have to keep in context that there are times where I go, I need particular thing, and then I find particular thing and it works out, because that will happen here. That's actually not all that difficult to do here in this shop. And every time that happens, it will justify being a completely fucking inexcusable pack rat about parts. And that's bad. That's what's currently burying me in my own shop. So, so my focus off camera, aside from working on like the computer project that I need to do some 3D printing for, is to go through stuff and throw stuff out. Power supplies are a particularly insidious one of those, because everyone and their dog will go, well, my tech friend will probably want this power supply. No, we don't. We don't want your power supplies unless they're super special. There's no reason to accumulate old, shitty computer power supplies. I can go to Micro Center and get a 300 watt power supply that's like half the size of a normal one for like $50. Like, I don't need all of the stuff. God, I need an organizer box with a shit ton of components that are scavenged from dumb stuff I found on the street. Yes, that's a great thing to do. And getting a box for it will come down to a matter of preference. I mean, like having like a tool bin that folds out isn't that great because if you shake it, everything gets disorganized. The things that I've typically gone for and keep around are partitioned bins of any kind of sort. Things like this that you can stack. Having all the same type is nice too. But the partitioned bins I will go through individually when I'm looking for parts, and they have particular themes to each one. But I need to reorganize them now because it's been long enough that there are parts in there that I don't need. I want the power supply because I'm poor and starting out. Well, yeah, that's time too. The power supply that we use here, the benchtop power supply, this was a project that we did because I had an Agilent power supply that was really good, but it didn't get up to the voltages that I needed it to. So what I did, yeah, exactly. I bought the cheap, super duper cheap, like power supply panel / regulator, but this is the really high current one. And then I bought a power supply board that had the shit ton of volts on it and also worked with this thing. And then we wired all that up, and I gave it a little fan controller that was monitoring temperatures within the case. And this case I bought on Alibaba, thinking that I would be putting a bunch of audio stuff in it. So it's like an audiophile case. I was going to put my whole sound setup in here because it's 2 units, and I wanted it to just be one thing. Turns out that was a little too big, but it makes a really good power supply board. It doesn't really fit on top of this. I should probably make a shelf there. I should probably like build a shelf for this thing. But anyway, that, again, totally fucking custom. Everything around here is all stapled together, and it's all breaking at once. It's all breaking at once because of my hubris in doing all this stuff DIY instead of going out and just buying something. Amazon's not an option because Costa Rican taxes and shipping is hell. Man, I love Costa Rica. It's a nice place to vacation, but I don't know about living there. But your dollar goes a lot further there, but it just sucks that you don't have something like, Amazon has totally ruined me because I can just get a ton of different weird stuff all at once. Alibaba is too slow. You don't want to live here? Okay, well, I understand. The DJing stuff, the people that I work with in festivals and stuff they all scarper off to Costa Rica for their little vacations. And I've done it once, and it's kind of fun, but I haven't had a vacation in like a billion years. All right, let's do this. Let's get started. Start soon. Get that away. I hear trucks in the distance, so you guys will probably get the wonderful truck treatment. If I get near the window, you'll hear a billion leaf blowers. They've got an operation with a truck collecting leaves, and then dump trucks will come by and grab all the leaves and then go off and drop them off. And then there's just an absolute fucking squad of people with leaf blowers getting rid of all the leaves. They do like a very large area around here. It's like a big pool that everybody pays into to do all the leaf work. Otherwise, I would be out there with my old rickety flywheel leaf blower going back and forth, which also doubles as a snow clearing device if you're lazy. But yeah, it's fall around here. Fall's felled, and so the leaves are goddamn everywhere. Which is fun because it's like a free dog toy. The corgi puppy will grab a leaf, bring it inside, shred it to bits, and then I have to vacuum after her. I need to see the flywheel thing. That was it. That was a couple houses ago. That was back when I was living in Radnor. But yeah, that thing was hilarious. It's basically just a big squirrel cage fan on a 2-stroke motor and just spins, and it just moves a lot of air. And so what we would do, we would just run it into a snowbank, and it would suck the snow in and then blow all the snow out the other end. That's how lazy we were. All right, let me see here. What's going on? I just need to check up. Yeah, I think we're good. I got a text. It's probably another one of those Pennsylvania. Yeah, save, what the fuck is this? Are you happy with high gas prices, rising crime rates, and empty store shelves? I am. No, I'm actually perfectly fine with it. I'm actually perfectly fine with it, and I hope I can find a candidate that runs on chaos. I'm not. No, you know what? I'm not gonna fucking send that. They don't need that confirmation. They're gonna destroy me if they do. I love the collapse of modern economics. I want more. No, I can't reply. As much as I love doing that and giving funny replies, they will latch on to the engagement, and I will be signed up for 10 billion political texts in perpetuity. I don't want that. That's true. Wishing for the housing market to crash so I can buy a house. Yeah, that'd be nice, huh? Actual property ownership. Isn't it weird? I guess only corporations can own property now. Anyway, we're still working on this. We're still working on this stupid stuff. I found another stash of LEDs. I was reminded when I was cleaning up the shop, I was reminded that I have this stash of LEDs, and I got them because these are all milky. These all have the shaded and colored plastic lenses on them that make them good indicator lights. They're good indicator lights if you don't put anything in front of them. So I want to see exactly what they look like if I put them behind the 3D print, and then we'll start making a circuit board. We need a two-sided circuit board on this because all of the additional components for these surface mount LEDs will get in the way of my light blockers. And we have room for multiple surface mount LEDs if we go that direction. So yeah, boomers. Yep. Anyway, let's talk about electronics. I need a sip of water. Because a roommate was doing like a big web conference today. They ran all the way through the time when I have to prepare for lunch. So I'm sitting here organizing, going, I need to eat something. I need something in my stomach, even just a little bit, just to keep that new type of hunger that I'm feeling now, the really, really deep hunger that distracts me. I need to not feel that. And in the future, I need to get used to it. But so I needed something, any kind of mass in my stomach, and what I descended upon was spicy Korean kimchi noodles. It's like an instant ramen pack, and I just crushed it up and shook it and ate it like potato chips. So that should be okay. But I've got like a background of boiling spicy kimchi that may be burped up at any moment. So I need to hit the water pretty hard on this one. Anyway, diodes are not all that particularly useful in terms of building circuits, because unless they're very well labeled, in which case you'll know what you've got, you can use a multimeter to characterize the diodes, I suppose, but I just don't find myself using diodes enough. I bought this sample pack of diodes that comes in like a little 3-ring binder, and that just has them all separated out by voltage. I think that's as far as I would go with that sort of thing. It's good to have all the parts, and if you can organize them and characterize them properly, then that's a good thing to have around. I wouldn't say throw them all out. I just never really use them. I don't really use them all that much. I guess you want to do analog stuff, so that might net you a few uses for diodes. Analog stuff, especially with audio, if you're doing like limits and compression and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe I rescind my useless rating for diodes. I rescind it. I rescind. This is a bad print. Garbage. Okay, that went in the recycling. That's close enough. What happened to my tweezers? Which one of you chuckleheads fucking moved my tweezers and now I'll never find them again? Oh no, they're up on their side. They were two-dimensional. I couldn't see them. Put that over there. All right. Oh, it's all just one type of diode? Is it what is it, 4148s? 1N 4148s are great if you're using relays. I don't know if this iron tip is going to put enough heat into the switch. I want to get these little wire ends off of here, and then we'll work on powering up some LEDs and see what they have to offer. This is not going to work, actually. I need to put a different tip on. So yeah, for somebody just starting out in electronics, comparing yourself in any way to the setup that I've got going here is not a good idea. It takes time, it takes practice, it takes effort, it takes an eye for collection, it takes a lot of different things primarily time to end up where I am in terms of building and skill. And everybody's setup is going to be catered to their own specific interests in electronics. So it's while fascinating, it should not be attempted to be emulated. I love seeing other people's setups. This thing is not moving. I'm going to add just like a tiny bit of solder to it as like a heat interface. What does it look like thermally? Yeah, it looks like pumping a bunch of heat into there, but it's not actually like, I'm not getting like an interface on the solder. And you got to be careful when soldering wires directly to switches like this, because you can damage things with too much heat. Because these tabs are big and they require a lot of heat, and they'll hold on to a lot of heat. This thing will stay hot well after I've removed it, which is why I'm handling it with tweezers, because I don't want this to fall and hit the 3D print and melt it, because it'll melt like a divot in my 3D print if I'm not careful. It'll melt the desks too. We're dealing with a lot of heat right there. So I just want to clean these up. I don't know if I'll solder the end product. I probably shouldn't, considering that I'm trying to be modular with the whole thing. I should probably use, what are they? The little clips that go on these things that are shielded, and they'll just slide in, which means I got to remove all that solder from this thing. And I say solder, not solder. So I'm American. I'm American. A pubic hair wig. they call the Brits big wigs, but we're the real Merkins. Oh, I gotta get that on a t-shirt or something. Yeah, high heat, small time, and then that high heat will dissipate out into the device and not damage it as much. Yeah, there's some fascinating people on Twitch. I'll tell you. There's not a lot of people doing electronics, and any effort to change that would be great. Because you don't need a flatulent gonad or oh bother level setup to just whip out a fucking phone and start showing people what you're doing. What you do need is to get Chester Willard out of your fucking channel. I mean, goddamn, he just fuck. I can't. I tried, and he's just right there. Those look nice, like rack blanking panels. Yeah, this turned out really well. I really like the way that this turned out. Hold on, let's get focus on it. Ah! What? Why are you looking at me? Okay. Yeah, these turned out really good. And hopefully they will illuminate properly, because these will be in duty for a couple of years. Duty. Anyway, no, what I was talking about is one of the most important facets of streaming your stream in electronics, TM. I'm doing like a Neil Breen style, like 5-movie advice panel. This is for a power supply that's going to power my giant automated laser etching setup. And the laser etching setup is going to etch using lasers setup. It's gonna etch the names of subscribers onto itself. I need to clean up these contacts. They're actually looking pretty shitty. What I should do is use a new switch instead of one that I found in a bin that's been here for 10 years. But one of the most important facets about streaming electronics, or really just streaming anything, is that you don't completely fucking melt and destroy your switch by trying to clean up the solder in it. You see, that would be a really bad idea if you totally fucking destroyed your switch by screwing around and not paying attention and then over adding too much, because it would really be a shame if one of the whole entire fucking tabs of the thing came out of the fucking thing and just ruined it completely. That didn't go well. That's why I use tabs. I use little crimp tabs for that kind of thing. I'll have to order some of those. I think I gotta order some of those. I think I'm out of those. It was a very old switch. Anyway, that thing's broken. What I was saying is one of the most important things about running your own electronic stream is that you have the personality and the ability to fill airspace, because it's just you out there, and you are going to be streaming for nobody. Nobody will watch. Nobody wants to watch. Nobody wants to see your stream until they do. And so you have to be used to working with absolutely nobody. I don't typically get angry I usually verbally abuse chat. That's usually what I do. And messing up like that, I haven't done in years. But here we are. That switch just couldn't take all the heat that I was putting into it. Yeah, I know. That's why I went directly to the sponge, but there's always going to be a little bit of a plastic halo on this now. The dry sponge. Yep, little plastic halo. Oh well. Well, that backfired, and now I'm smelling plastic. Okay, so circuit board. We're going to put a circuit board behind this, and that's going to hold LEDs. Oh yeah, we also need to test these LEDs. So I'm inclined to go with orange. I think orange is probably the good one to go with. I just don't have a ton of oranges right here. That should be enough for us to get down the line. Let's try one without the diffuser, and then we'll try one with the diffuser. Really, I should make like an LED tester. Because doing stuff, well, we very rarely get a project like this where we get to actually, you know, sit here and test what stuff looks like. But let's go back to the absolutely horrible looking LED board, and I will, I guess, get rid of whatever we have there, and I will attach whatever we've got here, which means we need this again. Because at the height that circuit board is going to hit, I don't think the 3mm LEDs are going to be a good idea. I think the 3mm LEDs need a lot of standoff distance, or to be paired up behind the plastic, or to be paired up. Man, all the popular kids are playing Minecraft with this server that Rubber Ross set up. My dream one day is that crowd actually even just notices me a little bit. Actually, I've already achieved that. We had a Dodger raid, Dex bonus raided that one time. That was really cool. I don't remember which is the LED that I got out of the bin, so I'm going to throw out all of the LEDs that I've got over here because I don't know what they are. I could use the multimeter to figure it out, but I don't have time for those kinds of games. So yeah, it's not a good idea. You see all these DIY channels that are basically just rage bait. They are all using their soldering irons as like a drilling tool. Terrible, absolutely phenomenally bad idea. You don't want to get plastic on your soldering iron. It's going to create a lot of fumes that are just not friendly to be around. Generally, when I have to alter plastic, I mean, it's plastic, right? Plastic just goes away in the face of machine tooling. It just goes away. It goes away. It's so easy to work with. You could even just use, and this is horrible, and I've done it before, something like a knife as a spoon drill, plunge it in and twist it around. It does wonders for the blade, let me tell you. But like, just get a drill bit, man. Just get a drill bit. You don't, if you've got a soldering iron, I'm sure you can source a drill bit. Got a headache from doing that once? Well, that's sound like a true electronics warrior. However, when you get to the point of headache, that's a red flag. We'll attach the LED on the other side of this board. Oh wait, no, but the wires come out of this side. We can pull the wires through. Let me get the other soldering iron tip on here. I'll do a multicam. I gotta be careful about multicam switching when I'm operating the soldering iron. Because I'm holding it like this and I'm going for the mouse. It's like, I'm gonna plunge this thing into my hand. Which I have done before. Not on stream, but I was working on that giant LED theater globe. And I brought my soldering iron because I was doing thousands of connections, which was dumb. I shouldn't have done that soldered. I should have done a factory process for all those parts. But anyway, live and learn, right? Sometimes you do elbow grease work, and sometimes you really need to do the automation thing. But so I was soldering tons and tons of things, and it was hot, and I only had a fan on me, which is bad. I constantly need to have air running on me, otherwise I overheat. I'm like an old PC. But anyway, I was soldering tons of things, and you know, I wasn't thinking straight, and so I went to climb a ladder, and I put the soldering iron in my mouth sideways, and then I got to the top of the ladder, and I forgot which end was which on the soldering iron. So thinking I was going for the handle, I went for the tip. I had a nice little like cone divot in my hand for a little while. Didn't really hurt that much at first though, but still. All right, LED, what side do we do? I guess we'll do it on the top side. Now, I've said it before, but with these LEDs with the epoxy can on the top, the way to tell which one is which typically, unless you're going through antiques or really weird stuff, the way to tell which end is which end is the anode and the cathode, because remember, A plus, C minus, anode is positive, it goes towards the positive end, cathode is the negative end. This is a diode, so you build up the voltage until you get to the right level, and then it will travel across the chip with a wanton disregard in terms of the amount of current that can flow, which is why you need a resistor on your LED in order to limit the amount of current flowing through that diode once it is triggered by the voltage. So when you have a diode like that, and you have a voltage, oh yeah, you also have a voltage drop across the diode, by the way. And that voltage drop is, I mean, it's just how all diodes work, but that voltage drop is also contributing to the light that comes out of the front of the diode. So that's where all your current is going. So this toilet bowl here on the left is also the lens, so that all of that light goes forwards instead of in every direction. That toilet bowl is typically negative, and it would be the cathode. In addition to that, one of the surefire ways to tell with one of these is that there's a flat spot for the cathode. There's a flat spot that denotes, am I right about that? Yeah, there's a flat spot on the collar that denotes negative. Now, the worst way to tell, and the way that all of the electronics books will tell you how to tell which one's the anode and cathode, for some reason they love telling you about the lead length. They say the longer lead is positive and the smaller lead is negative. But then you get you get an LED that you took out of something and the leads have been cut. So it's like, don't do that. Unless you're manufacturing your electronics from new, it's the dumbest thing to memorize ever. Just go flat spot minus, A plus, C minus, toilet bowl minus. That's all you need to know. Anyway. And then, you know, when in doubt, the ones that'll really fool you are, of course, the surface mount stuff, because they obviously don't have any big indication of which one is which. Those are a little bit more difficult because they have this symbol that works a little counterintuitively. You can't really see it. There's like a T on the back of this thing, or there should be anyway. It might have come off. There's like a T on the back of the chip, and the flat spot of the T is positive. In addition to that, I guess there is a marking on this side that everybody says they can see except for me. I don't see it. I just physically cannot observe whatever the hell that marking is. I think maybe the dot on it is indicative. It indicates something. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. I just use that T. But then push comes to shove, above all else, if you really want to know how your diode is functioning, use a multimeter. You got a multimeter that's worth anything. Always get an auto-ranging multimeter. These things have gotten cheaper and cheaper over the years, to the point where buying a Fluke probably not a great idea unless you're like jumping out of airplanes and you need to go test stuff. This is great for the festival gig because, you know, it would get rained on, it would still work. But the multimeter has a diode setting that'll tell you how many volts, up to a limit, that'll get your diode to actually, you know, transfer energy. And on an LED, it does that, and it also emits light. So a really good way to figure out what your LEDs are, multimeter. All right, let's get this diode in here. Let's get this LED in here, see what it does. Bonk. So I need to open up some of these pads, and this is for surface mount, so the through holes are not gonna really enjoy this very much. I could put a socket on this, and then we could just roll through some of these. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Let me just put a socket on this, and then we can just replace the LED more easily. This is getting weird. It's getting weird, chat. Don't make it weird. If I lift one of these pads, I'm going to be very sad. Just because we've worked with this so much. Let's get a female standoff, and I don't need it to be large. We can just do one of these guys. Oh yeah, always do it live. Hold on, looking for headers. This type, the type that I want to use here is, for some reason, always sent to me. I tried to buy this type, where they've got large holes in the top, right? I tried to buy this because these were very special. These were great. I could use those with square headers, and they were much lower profile. But the type that they always frickin' send are these, and they've got a significant reduction in the diameter of the pin that they can take. So as a result, I actually bought these low profiles as well to complement them. Maybe it's anode, maybe it's cathode, maybe you make a big noise, a little bit of smoke, a little bit of plastic smell. Maybe, you know, maybe that's the result of what you're doing. I'm sad that they changed the formulas, though. They changed the epoxy in LEDs since the 80s. Oh, God. Like, what year? 90s. Since the 90s. I think that's around the time that my brother and I were blowing up LEDs. But they've changed the plastics in them so that they don't explode anymore. Which is, it's just, you know, it's sad. That's sad. Sometimes I will use these headers to make removable surface mount devices. These are liable to melt from the soldering. No, nowadays they just kind of like, yeah, I guess they do smoke now, but they don't pop. There's no rapid changing of material in order to create a pressure vessel. So it's sad. It's sad. These kids these days, they won't have that experience, you know? We took that from them. We took the explosions out of electronics. Not always a bad thing, but in this case it is. All right, there's that one. Solder the other one. Then I gotta solder the first one to the wire. Because then we can put like 5 volts or whatever through this. All right, get that. Uh-oh. No. Solder them both at the same time. This thing is reaching danger zone levels. Oh, now it's just a big solder blob underneath. Great, just what I wanted to do. Why am I bad at soldering today? I'm usually one of the best. I really need to get those solder challenge boards, just so I can flex on y'all. Yeah, repairing microwaves is not something that should be attempted. Need to be like an RF engineer to do that. And even then, the RF engineers that I know are so flaky. I wouldn't trust them with a microwave. I guess they are trusted with other things that create microwaves, huh? Man, RF testing was always fun. You get to go outside, see the world. And then the RF engineers were so opposed to actually going outside and touching grass that they had a giant chamber made that they could test in. Blah, blah, controlled environment, blah, blah, but still. Such an aversion to touching grass. What are you doing, Bother? What are you working on? What are you making? What is this? What's going on? What are you? What? I think that's making an electrical contact. These little rapid circuits are always a mess. Nope, it's not making an electrical. I'm just loaded up with solder. Fuck it. All the solder. You make a connection, because I tell you to. Oh God, it's hideous. It's hideous. Yeah, some stuff does still explode. And then there's the link. Yeah, it's, you know, the time for that clip is past. I actually really strongly oppose being intentionally bad at this and like having something explode. So we don't do that capacitor explosion here. And when it was posted on Reddit, God, those fucking Redditors could be so goddamn pretentious. Oh, first cap exploding, I see. No, I've been doing this for 10 years, 20 years. It's not even close to the first capacitor that I've ever exploded. You're just pretentious. No more lead distance to allow me to figure out which end is which. We're in the deep end. So negative is on that toilet bowl. This will go in like this. Eureka! It's a blue LED, even though it was in the orange bin. Well, that's fairly well organized. Ah, my lungs! I mean eyes! Oh my god. These are really bright. I mean, if I put 2 in here, I guess I could be bussy. If I put 2 in and I drilled holes for them, actually, they would have to poke through the PCB, which is a little weird. But that would be... that'd be alright. They're very bright. Well, it's good to see the brightness, though. Yeah, almost like you're streaming stuff to teach people. Yeah, that's true. Well, that one was, the reason that there was an explosion there was because I overvolted a, capacitor. So we were working with motor control stuff, and I believe it was just for funsies, but, there were a bunch of different, voltages being tossed around. And I think it was Burn the Subs that we were working on, but I was going, man, you know, this thing, it would be happier at a higher voltage. And so I went to a higher voltage, not remembering that the capacitor that I put in was 35 volts and not 50. And so we put 50 volts into the cap. You can see it heat up on the thermals. I was finding little bits of cardboard all over for a long time. That was 1 billion years ago. Now let's see what orang looks like. Orange. This way. What? What? That thing's on? 10 amps. Oh, blah, 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 blah. This power supply can supply quite a few amps, and it can overamp my my wires here, and that's what was going on. I was like, why didn't it light up? Yeah, it's because we had a short right here, because I made these the same length. Let's see what the wires look like now. There we go. Orang. That's actually pretty good. I like this one. See, these would be for direct viewing. So we get that here, and it's on a circuit board. It would be this far away. So if I do two of the 3 millimeters per, I could do this pretty nicely. We could use fusion to figure out where the holes should be, but my mill does not have the, what do you call it? My mill does not have the DRO working right now. Damn it. We could have done that with a DRO. Or I could use, well, let's get these. If I could find a clear orange. This kit has been through the ringer a little bit too often, so all these LEDs are like, oh no, those are blue. Wait, blue, green, yellow, red, and white, huh? So we don't have amber because we have white LEDs instead. Damn it! I thought I had orange in that shade. Okay, so if we do 3 millimeter LEDs and not surface mount, that's what we will do. I will drill holes in the PCB in order to mount the LED, and then we'll solder it from behind. However, if I do surface mount, then all I need to do is attach the LED to one side and put all the resistor stuff on the other. And that'll offer us a little bit more space. We should probably stick with surface mount, to be honest. If we do surface mount of the oranges, and then we properly, you know, we get enough current behind them, that should be okay. I'm going to need some space on the PCB in order to in order to get the light right, get the amount of light out of the LED proper with resistors, or come up with some kind of a transistor circuit that will switch a lower voltage to our LED, or an opto-isolator or something like that, so that we don't need, I don't know if I have enough, I don't think I have enough opto-isolators. Maybe I do. They're a little big on the circuit though. I don't know if I should like come up with some kind of like a safety circuit kind of thing, like if it wanders out of spec, it'll turn off the light, you know. Let's do the basic. Let's do it the very basic way first, where it's just if voltage present works. Now, if I did this all in Fusion, I could do this all in Fusion, and I could make exactly the right circuit board to fit in there and put them all in the right spots, but and it'll be super clean and organized, and it'll look nice, and I'll feel good about it. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. The diagram says 30-volt cap can be used 50-volt cap or higher. Does it do something weird? You go over the specification for the voltages of the capacitor. A certain voltage cap, you know, can't handle all them volts and all the current and stuff like that that's flowing through it, and it'll break down and overheat. I don't know. You'll have to look that up. I mean, I don't know. All right, let's get this out of the way. Get all this stuff out of the way. We're building a PCB, so we don't need this. All right, fine. I'll leave that there for now. You go over there. You go over there. Doing this. This one goes over there because the switch exploded. And then I need PCB material, which is in a bin located, right on top of the bench. Okay. PCB material. Now I'm going to use the through-hole ones. Typically I don't like using them. I like using this square pad with one side because it works really well with the words that I can't find. It works really well with surface mount stuff because it'll mount all that stuff really nicely. But alas. So I need to take like the whole thing and then pare it down. Make it nice. Just hit both ends, one side, the other side. And I can just snap that off. We can work with this piece. The only thing that might not happen is these are designed in metric, and this is imperial. It's 0.1 inch. So that might not line up all too good. Looks like it's approximately there. Oh, wait a minute, it's not tall enough. Son of a bitch. I mean, I could always 3D print something in order to hold it a little better vertically. Or I could get it to press fit horizontally. Try that. We'll try that. We'll see what we can do. I could always print like a collar for it or something. Or maybe once we proof of concept it, I can think about making a PCB for the whole thing. I think it's a little wasteful though. I think designing and having a PCB like built, like made like professionally for this is just silly. All right, file in order to smooth out the edges. Of course. Nope, that's fine. Of course. Smooth them out. I could also put like a piece of like double-sided tape on the ends too to get it to fit. I would like to have this board be responsible for creating all the voltages that we're going to see in Burn the Subs, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to swing that. I don't know if that's going to be a possibility. It looks like I need like a majority of them removed, but not entirely. So filing it's going to take a little while. Yeah, I might come in and cut it again. Cut it again. Because just snapping the board in half isn't... No, actually... That's actually suddenly very close to fitting. Ah, weird. That is extremely close to fitting. Give it a little chamfer. Did I not get that one? When you work with like these prototyping boards, you always want to space out everything. And you never want to make like a miniaturization of your design. It's always, you know, spread out, make it as large as possible, and give everything room to breathe, because you're gonna want to go back in and edit stuff. Nobody's perfect, you know. I always forget those lessons, but yeah. So having this be like the power supply board too, probably not a great idea. I don't think we're gonna be able to swing that, because I don't have room for all the voltage regulators on it to make all the other voltages that we need. But if I took this into Fusion, I could make all those connections very small. There's a lot of real estate here for electronics. That does snap in, but it's a little, might be a little bit extra, might be a little much. That's pretty good. I need like a flashlight behind it so that I can see the different... Oh, it's actually not... No, that's not fully seated. Needs a little bit less. I mean, it's a good pressure fit. I want a good pressure fit, but... Either of these crooked? I think one of them is crooked. I can't see well enough to fix it, though. Ugh. Yeah, it's when I rake it like that I put more pressure on the one side than the other. And that's what makes it a trapezoid. Gotta love trapezoids. Okay, give me dish back. I don't have the flashlight here anymore. I've been using it to take the dog for walks. It's a bit powerful for a walkie's flashlight, but... What I need to do is get that LED rope that they have now and make a dog leash out of that. Unless they already have. They probably already have done that. The LED rope dog leash. I should probably just Google that. I bet you I can find it. Okay, that is actually the right height. Okay, cool. Yeah. So that's what's going to carry our LEDs, and it does slide up and down. We'll have to see where the best lineup is of the two components. Focus in. There we go. And then get this out of the way. We need light. I think what I'm going to do for Burn the Subs is the activation and stuff I'm going to put over to Node Red, and that way I'll have like a separate button that'll turn on and off the board in Node Red, and that can automate based on whether or not I'm streaming or whatever else I'm doing, right? The EL panel leash. See, I don't know about EL panels because they make a high-pitched squealing noise when they're in operation, just because of the AC switching, which and also the high voltage versus, you know, a dog. Because Willow likes to take the leash, and like she likes to, on the very end of the walk, when she knows she's going home, she will grab the leash in her mouth and lead me around. I don't want that to end up shocking my dog. Oh wait, we're not using these. We're using the surface mount ones. It's like centered. All of them are centered. Actually, if I push it all the way down, it is 2s and 2s. So that might work out. It doesn't really work out on this one. Yeah, that one's pushing it. I'm trying to line these up. So they do have the LED ones. I have to look into that. A giant glowing leash. I don't want to have to reprint this part. Well, if I go sideways, I guess, then they all center, 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 up or down. Those can go vertical and then center. Yeah, that's how it's got to be done. So we'll do on this one, no, on this one, this one will get an LED in the center, or sorry, going vertically. This one will get one going horizontally. So this and this and yeah, this. That's a really weird scheme to do, as metric versus imperial, but I guess it's doable. So let me actually just mark that. I guess I could use a marker. Like that. I can't see the paint. Hold on, I need a better marker. I need a better marker. It's one of these, even though it'll just rub off. Oh wait, no, here's a Sharpie. That'll work. Yeah, the place where I walk her, like, cars come by at like 1 billion miles an hour, so I need heavy illumination when I take her for walks. Otherwise, we're gonna get fucking destroyed by some car, some suburbanite asshole. It's going way too fast. Like that. And then we're doing 2 per, 1 on each end, so it would be good spacing for that. Like there and there. We'll just have to, we'll play that one by ear. We'll play that one by ear. Now, will this flip over? Yes. Okay. Except it's going to give credit to whoever made the board. DIY More has the restriction right on the bottom of this fucking thing. Apparently they get all the credit. All right, and I think we're going with orange, not blue. Blue is a little bit too boring. Red indicates something's wrong. Green would be okay. I guess it would be a little pat, a little simplistic. Yellow means caution, so that's not really a great one. I don't really have much else. Pink would be a little weird. Looks like you need to print a custom circuit board. Don't you put that evil on me. It's too easy to do these days. It's too easy to do. Orang. Yeah, we'll use the orangs. Ultraviolet is out because it'll destroy my plastics. White. I just don't want to use white. I know, blinding blue white. Ugh. Yellow would look like it's broken. Blue would look like it's from the early 2000s. I think orange is the only color that's acceptable here. Lost one. No, there it is. All right, so this is going to be annoying. I got to figure out the locations that all these are going to go in. So how many of these are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need 10 LEDs. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Go. Just make it RGB. Like do the Corsair thing. Embrace RGB. No. I will not do that. I don't want to use white. I don't want a white LED. Listen, it needs to be soft. I need to have like a soft light on it because otherwise it's going to blast my freaking eyes out all the time. So let's see. We have 2, 4, 6, 7. So we do have a center and 3 on each side. So I guess we'll go here and here-ish. The one with the alternatives that don't go, because we got a center row for these. So we need to go here, skip, here. And then the resistors will be done on the other side. And we'll keep them so that positive and negative are facing a particular direction. Suicidal or AT-Tinies, or they have a tendency to commit suicide. We want to use them somewhere and stuff. Needs a bit of processing, but nothing heavy. Like the AT-Tiny 85 I was working with is sensitive to voltages that are outside of its specifications, but it's also required, if you want to use all the pins, that you use a 12-volt setup. So the 12 volts will kill your AT-Tiny 85, while 5 volts is the pin voltage. They can hold a lot of stuff that does a lot of good code, but working with them initially is not a great idea if you're just beginning. Use like a normal Arduino or like something that's got like a test bed with like a USB slot, or you know, something like that. The ATtiny is a specialty chip, and it's a little bit more difficult to work with, especially given that you don't have as many pins to do the thing that you want to do. These out of the way. Actually, everything is in my way right now because we have project creep all over us. Try to get into a comfortable soldering position. And of course, my light is being blocked by my own hand, so I need to actually move this up a little bit. Tired of all these damn shadows. Oh, you already know quite a bit about Arduino. The ATtiny85 can run just about any code that you throw at it. That's relatively simple. It can do a lot of digital bus stuff, which means bus stuff. It can do a lot of digital stuff, which means it can run like a particular kind of bus really well. Like if, for instance, you have an I2C sensor, it would be good at reading that I2C sensor and then communicating what that sensor is doing. I don't know. When I was working with them, I would frequently reverse voltage and kill them. So let's do positive up here, negative down here. So that's this orientation. And I'm not on the camera with my hands. We should get closer. I don't mean you and me. I don't mean that. I mean that. Don't take that the wrong way, chat. I mean, we should move the camera a little closer to the board. Oh, great. Then it moves. Okay. All right. You just stay right there. And square up on the mat. Sid, square up on the mat. Square up on the mat. Go. Bada bing. All right. I mean, they're all right for that kind of purpose. I don't know if I could really suggest them though, because there's so many other options out there these days that the ATtiny85 is not necessarily ever going to be the best one. The price is right. They're cheap. They also lack a lot of capabilities that a lot of things smaller than them have now. Because they're old. They're not new. I mean, they're well understood because they're not new. People know how to use them, but I don't know. I had fun with them. I still have a big collection of them, so I'll be using them in stuff in the future. But I had a lot of trouble with the timings, the fast timings that I needed. I don't have any recommendations. I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know what to use. Because I used the ATtiny85 and now I've got all these opinions on them. But I didn't use possibly something better or more suited for that application. In the end, whatever's easiest should win out. Because nowadays, like, it used to be that you would figure out what your project was going to be, right? And then you would sit down with a perforated prototyping board and you'd suss it out, right? You get all the different components working on that project, you get them together, you get them all functioning and stuff, and then you look at it and you go, all right, let's build a perforated prototyping board like the ones I have here. And then you would build out that project on the perf board and you would be able to get it running sort of in the application that it's supposed to and get it vetted out and working. And then once it was vetted out and working, you would then go through the trouble of designing a PCB that was going to perform those functions. Once you design the PCB, you would have that sent out and, you know, what was I going to say? The PCB would be like the last step. There'd be all this stuff before making the PCB. And then when you were confident about that design working perfectly in the way that you meant it to work, you would work out all the kinks and you would put in whatever specific like you know, like microcontroller. You'd figure that out later. You'd start with something that's extremely powerful and easy just to get your code running, and then you would move over to something that would be, you know, like cost effective or something of that nature. But since we are in the DIY sphere, we are in the hobby realm, it is better just to get your project running even with the $35 microcontroller as opposed to the $2 one. Better to just get it working. I'm wondering if I can get a little uniformity on these by going in between the two. It's not really holding on to that at all. I have to do all of them like this. Because the light is going to be coming from a different area. I don't want that. It doesn't look right when you do that. I could just put a little piece of wire across these. And then I got to make hundreds of staples. Actually, I don't. I can just go down the whole row and I can pop it off with a pair of with a knife. So hold on, let me get a piece of wire here. A piece of wire wrap wire, 30 gauge. Accept no substitutes. Where is? Let's get the first one I can find. This is not a technique. This is just something I'm trying out. Yeah, buy the chips because they're cool and they're in fashion now, and then don't finish projects. Why did Chester lose all of his badges? What happened there? Damn it. I'm trying to strip like a large portion of this wire and it's not cooperating with me. I don't know, something happened over here. Banned for being a schmuck. Ah, it's friction. It's too much friction. That's what's going on. I need unshielded wire, and I just grabbed a shielded wire just because. So let's get that soldered on there. Where are we going? Right here. I'm just going to run this all the way up. All the electrical connections will be made on the other side, but I'm going to use a little piece of wire just to make my surface mount location. My surface mount. Or maybe I do this on an individual case base. God, that means I'm going to have to do it so many times, though. I hate this. I should just design a circuit board. No! No! Don't give in! Never surrender. If these were slightly larger, I guess I could have done, like, catty corner. I don't think that's going to work out, though. Also, we're facing the wrong direction. I need this in the other way. What I'm trying to do is get the point source of light to be at about the same spot for each of these. And so for these, I mean, I wanted to do it this way because then we could have actually had it be a little bit more centered. It would have been right here probably and then right there. Although that's too close. This is pretty much a good spot for the light to be. But in order to get it to look consistent, it would have been nicer if all the centers were in the right places. I guess if I do this, I might be able to get solder to bridge that. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can do this. Because, yeah, that would put the chip in just about the same location in the little trough that we made for it. Better I drill through the board and mount an LED to the other side. That means I need an absolute bubble of solder over here. We might have to just set up the circuit to light them all up at once, just so we can see what it looks like. I can make a decision at that point. Whether to go forward with the infernal design that I've made so far, or if I want to either change the 3D print or change the board that I'm making right now and make a board. And the way that would be done is just by taking a projection of the opening into Fusion, into the board program, probably do it by size, and then I'd have to move that component into the main drawing. And then I could create a schematic and get all my parts organized and three-dimensional. It would be very clean looking, but then we wouldn't have instant results. I'd have to send it off to what I typically use is Seed Studio, spelled with too many E's, but they make a nice PCB. But this time I could actually try one of the other manufacturers, and maybe I'd get it a lot faster in the mail. And then I'd have perfect PCBs forever and ever. But I'd never be able to change. Is that even, I think the solder is not sticking to that. Solder braid is overkill. I mean, if I just put a little tiny piece of wire in there, but I got to do this like 16 times, so. Yeah, see, it's like not soldered over there. Buddy, please. One would expect surface tension to be an ally here, but apparently not. These LEDs like don't like to solder. I don't know what's up with them. Yeah, see, it's like it almost got the surface tension on the other side. Oops, I got a bunch of LEDs under my thumb. Whoopsie daisy. Hold on, I gotta sweep them over. The more I work with this, the less good this LED is gonna be. If again, if I just had a footprint on a three-dimensionally designed PCB, this would be super simple. It's like barely not gonna do it. No, it's not that sensitive. Some components are super sensitive to the heat. This one can take it. LEDs are pretty indestructible unless I were to stab this thing. And also the amount of heat on your soldering iron should not be overkill. This thing is not cooperating with me right now. I think that might actually be soldered in, but I don't like it. I don't like it. There's so much flux around it right now. That took a lot. I'm guessing the other side of the board looks totally bloated with solder. A little bit. A little bit. So if I desolder this side, am I going to be creating a problem? A little brighter. Where is my solder braid? God damn it. Is everything going wrong for me today? I think it's because I'm a little overheated. A little too warm. I could either use a little piece of wire on it, or what else can I do? Pretty much just the wire thing. I think that's all I can do. If that desoldered enough for the LED to be floating. It like barely is connecting. That's a little shaky. Barely connecting. I don't know if I like that. All right, come on. Give me the solder. Give me. Go. Well, I can try that on the others and see if it works. I just want to make the amount of time that I do that for a little bit less. Why would I resolder it? There's so much flux around it right now, too. I gotta keep all those LEDs in one spot. They're wandering around the desk right now because I had them all up on the vise, but I picked up the vise and moved it, so now they're all over the place. They're everywhere. Oh, there's one. There you go. I think that's all of them. All right, so next one. Would go here. We'll go here and then diagonally down. We'll just see if we can get it to make a little bit of a connection. This is again why I like the square pads. I wouldn't have had this trouble with the square pads because I could have put one just directly in the middle here because those square pads get really close to one another. These, however, the circle pads, do not. All the components are going to go on the other side of the board. We're at like just the limits of what the solder will allow me to do. Ah, still make a connection. I have to do all of the other LEDs like this. Everybody else gets to play Minecraft on their streams. I gotta do this. I gotta do a skill challenge every day. All right, that's okay. We can come back with a soldering braid and clean up anything we need to clean up, but that looks pretty good. I do want to add just a little bit of solder to these. No, don't touch them. Don't touch them. So next one is centered. Oh, that's nice and easy then. So now I can actually go from here to here. Was it really supposed to be? I thought they were all not centered. Huh, weird. Okay, whatever. Follow my instructions. Just try not to get it wrong, you know? So if that one is centered, then I can take these two. Positive is going upwards. I actually lost track of that. I think it is. I think it's still going in the right direction. Positive going upwards like this. Yeah. The problem with getting flux on your tweezers is then the components stick to it. No! That was a soldering iron directly to the lens. Yeah, that one's done. All right, next. Soldering iron to the lens. Death of the LED. The lens can get hot, but when directly contacting the soldering iron, it's going to get stuff on it. And it's possible that the soldering temperature for the diode is a temperature that just simply makes that lens soft. So if you hit it directly with the soldering iron, it can basically like manipulate the lens and squish it. Yeah, me too. I thought there was only one that was centered, but I made my mark, so I'm going to follow it and see what happens. Wait, soldering iron? No, it's still on. It's still on. I just cleaned the tips. There's no flux on it right now. Yeah, so it's not transferring the heat as much as I'd like. There we go. I bought a new thing of solder a little while ago. And so now I've got much more control over the amount that gets deposited. So hopefully that'll clean up some of my circuits. That one's centered too. I guess the only one that staggered was the one. Oh, that makes everything much easier. Oh, okay, cool. So I only have to do the weird special soldering on one of them. I probably should have used wire then. That would have been easier. It was the other way around. I thought it was the first way. Seems like there's an LED under me at all times. I just picked that one off of my palm. Make sure the lens is okay. Yep, looks good. Probably should have individually taken them out. Yeah, I could have done the wire technique for those two. Instead of barely surface tension reaching it, I could have just had a little piece of wire on it. Which is maybe what I'm going to do now, actually, to be honest. Because if it's only for those, then I definitely have time to do it that way. Why? Why'd you go diagonal, huh? What was that all about? Really? Diagonally? Diagon? Stay there. Pfft. Yeah, no thanks. Has anybody tried to make a cold solder printer? That probably does exist, to be honest. Everyone's done everything. Yeah, let's fix these two. I don't like them. I don't like them like that. I'll just use new LEDs too, because these have already been through the ringer. They're probably fine. I have a lot of these. They weren't expensive, so I want my best foot forward, and I also smelled burning hair when I took that one off, so. And then I just need to do a little tiny piece of wire across these. Now, once the solder flows, everything's gonna move around, so this will be pretty janky at first. Or I could actually bend it into a staple. But I actually want it to move. I want it to move because I want surface tension to center everything. So I do that, and then I grab a scalpel. And with the scalpel, I can just push down on the wire. It pops off. What, doing a cold solder bridge? Huh. Yeah, they did. There are actually SparkFun in their parts library has pads that they use in order to make solder bridge selectors. But doing it over any kind of a distance, unless you're just doing, you know, weird janky stuff, you know, like the Xbox modding and things, like doing it over any kind of a distance is pretty shaky because it's not really designed to hold that much current. It'll kind of fail you. Especially if something bad happens and it like desolders itself. Like a water balloon, and then something bad happens. Okay. Yeah, this is, if I only have to do this once, this is acceptable. But doing this level of work for every single LED would get obnoxious very fast. I got a lot of viewers when I do soldering like this. I think I want, can you guys remind me, maybe if you feel like it, if you've got time, link me to one of those soldering challenges, because we can do a day of just soldering challenges. I think that would be a fun day to use the microscope. Because I would love to find a skill test. With, oh, tension? Yeah. Okay, so that's one end of those. Let's just solder down both ends. And what's going to happen is that heat is going to transfer through the wire, and the wire is going to end up floating on these two pads. And it'll be a pain in the ass, because one's probably going to follow the soldering iron when I remove it. Try not to overdo the solder on it. Maybe that's the only thing I can do, is just try to hold back. Exercise caution. That's working pretty well. You know, we probably could do this with a single LED shining sideways and using all of those weird lensing things that we always find inside of consumer electronics to dissipate the light out for the entire area of the thing. But I printed these thick so that I got good dissipation from it. So these chip LEDs are just going to cover that area, and then not a ton of light is going to be transferred to the front end. Is it a special scalpel? It's just a real scalpel with a specific... You can buy all kinds of different scalpel blades. They're so much better than the X-Acto knife. See, the thing about the X-Acto knife... Well, let me explain that in just a second, okay? Let me just get this part in, and then I'll explain my knife revolution. Revelation? Not really a revelation, though. Damn it! I need the tweezers on that. Yeah, because everything moves when it melts. So that's floating in the air. Uh-oh. Beauty. Okay, so with the knives, I've used X-Acto knives for like the entire time that I've been working with electronics, and I really dislike these very strongly. The reason that I hate X-Acto knives is because if you're going, like, first of all, people treat them like they invented the extremely sharp knife, which they did not. They are simply just a consumer brand of knives that you should avoid actually pretty much at all costs. The thing about the X-Acto knife is what they rely on is not that little cut right there. They rely on pressure in this collar right here in order to hold this thing steady. And I could tell you right now, I'm building a lot of model kits as a little kid, and not as a little kid, and building electronics and stuff like that. As you use the X-Acto knife and as you use it to cut in various ways, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting twisting torque on this collar, and then it just lets go. And when it lets go, your knife is going to do something unpredictable. And when you're working with a knife that is like as atomically sharp as an X-Acto knife, you don't want unpredictable stuff to happen. Now, the thing is, I don't know how long X-Acto's been a company. For some reason, they just kind of stole the entire hobby space. But as it turns out, you can go to a bunch of different suppliers and stuff, and you can get non-sterile scalpels and blades, because doctors have been cutting people open for as long as it's been fun. And so as such, they have different ways of locking the blade down. Now, this one, you have to take your life into your own hands when you lock the blade down, because if you basically pull up the back of it and wiggle the whole thing out of the front. So that's fairly dangerous to do. I guess you could probably get it done in a sterile environment where you would have this thing in a sterile bag and you'd pinch it and then you'd be able to push it in and get the thing to lock in. But this is a 10A. You can buy all kinds of different shaped blades for these things, and it locks in by pressing backwards and locking onto this little tongue right here. So the handle, not round, I can put side forces into it. I can push it up against stuff, and it's pushing directly in the middle of this thing. And then if I mean, there's not much that I can do in order to unseat it in terms of weird and unique cuts. I mean, I guess maybe if I sink it into something and there's a lot of pressure, I could possibly wiggle this thing in such a way as to get this to pop up, and then it would pull out. But generally, when you're using these guys, I get these dull more often than X-Acto blades. These knives right here, these I get dull more than I do X-Acto blades, because they don't fall out and do weird stuff. So yeah, anyway, that's the blade. This one has a very dull tip, so yeah, it's not all that bad. twiztedsizter. I get a cut from that? No. twiztedsizter. 10 more months until the magic number. Hell yeah, dude. Almost hitting 60. Holy crap. We're doing some basic soldering for burn the subs in order to make our control panel pop. We're putting LEDs behind these little chambers that I've made by doing a dual filament print. Well, dual filament. I just swapped out the filament in the middle of the print, but designing these in Fusion 360 using the Avenir font and some troughs or whatever they're called, and then just giving it a 1mm cut, changing materials at the right time, and making little light tubes out of these things. So these will light up. Excuse me. Oh, I should have muted. These will light up, and I'll be able to see the text behind them, and that'll be on my wall. That'll be on my wall to the right, and that's where I'll be able to see it. Oh my God! What are you doing? Oh dear God. Hey, twiztedsizter's making it rain. They just gifted 10 subs going to Pseudo Maymay's Amazonian Walrus Phantasmogasm. There's a name that I like saying. WRXing it up. Kagas, Venity, Tom B, Tully 200X, Immortius, and RYG. Man, I kind of missed reading out names. I haven't had to do that for a long time. Yeah, if you guys are in chat, thank twiztedsizter, man. He just dropped 1 billion subs on us. Oh, and I gifted a sub to who I think was one of the names that was gifted like they found the channel because they were gifted a sub. Like when we get Burn the Subs running, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to go through the back catalog and put people on the board initially. I don't know how we're going to work the initial names onto the board. Maybe I'll just make twiztedsizter the first one on the board, and then you guys can fight over. But anyway, it's not, you know, it's hard to be fair about that because it's like everyone's subs come up at different times. I'll have to have a deep thonk about how I'm going to do the initial board. But yeah, it's been so much time. But when we do get the board running, we would go through these lists of names and have them all burnt up on the sub or on the board and stuff. It was cool. Oh man, Twisted Sister just throwing them out here, gifting a sub to Kervos Bane and Complex Swede TV. Thank you, Twisted Sister. I really appreciate that. Twisted Sister's a buddy of mine from Virginia, and he's been wont to drop bombs on this channel every now and then, which I appreciate. It doesn't happen without burn the subs usually. Usually we need the board as an incentive for people to do that, which is it's a shockingly good incentive to do that. But we'll have to go and check it out when it starts up again. You guys will be able to see this channel like when things are actually popping off. I appreciate that. Yeah, one thing that I need to do around here is set up the mill so that I can just put these insulin pumps through it and I can get the parts out of it. Because what I'd like to do is make a microcontroller board, possibly something compatible with Arduino that uses this chip. But the problem is, this is a completely and utterly manufacturer-specific chip from NXP. So, why do you have a stack of insulin pumps? Because every 2 days they ask me to throw out one of these. These hold 200 units of insulin. My pump used to hold 300 units, and I am fairly insulin resistant, although I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, and apparently that's I'm starting to make good progress in the right direction, chat. I lost a bit of weight. My A1C was down quite a bit. It was actually a very positive visit. So this system, this Android APS, this thing that's running my insulin pump right here, this guy right here on my Pixel 6, this thing is working wonders. Okay, that's the dry noodles that I ate, and then it dealt with it with the insulin that I injected, because I injected 15 units, that's what that is, and now my glucose level's coming back down, and it's not staying hyperglycemic. My A1C needs kneecapped. Yeah, Jardiance was a good thing for me. Of course, I'm not allowed to use it with this system, but like this is Halloween candy overnight, and it just brought me back down almost to normal, kind of to normal. But yeah, this system has been insane. So this is using the constant glucose monitor that I have installed on my shoulder that I change out every 7 to 14 days. Constant glucose monitor, that's Bluetooth low energy going into the phone through a different app. It uses an app called Xstrip. So this is what Xstrip is receiving. These two apps talk to each other back and forth and display things just a little bit differently. But Xstrip Plus is getting all those glucose levels. And then Android APS is managing the glucose levels and talking to the insulin pump, which is also a Bluetooth low energy device that's filled with 200 units of insulin. We did the last stream that we did, the last non-gaming stream, we looked at what was inside of these things. These are a really interesting design. I'm gonna go off on a tangent on it for a minute here instead of soldering LEDs. The way that this thing loads the plunger and advances it is really, really cool. It has a lot of one-way mechanisms in it, though. This is like kind of hostile towards reusing supplies. I can't reuse this. All I can do is manually inject the insulin that the system thinks I should take, and then basically keep these going as long as possible. So you put the adhesive patch on yourself, and then this thing will click a drum. There's a drum that spins. And the drum, when it spins, it doesn't actually advance the plunger. That plunger, once it's loaded with insulin, this whole cylinder goes backwards, and there's a brass rod that's threaded inside, waiting for something to twist it. But that drum spins around it without touching it. And so you've got the patch on your body, and this thing is clicking away. It just keeps spinning. There's a snapping noise. And what that is, I threw out the spring, but that's a spring that snaps and closes around this drum. So if you fill this with less insulin, it's able to grab anywhere on the drum and begin delivering. So once that geared, I actually threw out the geared drum, there's a drum with gears on the outside, and that drum with the gears on the outside grabs onto the brass rod, and it keeps spinning. So as it's spinning, it's advancing insulin, and it's priming through the needle. Once a flat spot on the gear reaches a certain point, there's a little lever that releases, and then that releases this huge spring arm right here. That spring arm is 180 degrees. It's over here. It's being held in place where it is right now, but under a massive amount of spring tension. So once this thing goes, it basically turns the rotational movement into linear movement, And that linear movement advances a syringe tip with a plastic tube on it. That goes all the way out, penetrates the skin. That's why there's such a big spring on it. Part of it gets captured by this spring on the top, this little spring plate, goes into position, holds onto the tube, and then as this continues to spin, this actually pulls back the syringe, leaving it in the tube. So now, as that drum spins, it advances the plunger and insulin gets delivered. One-way streets all over the place. The way that it advances it is not with a motor. This piece of memory wire, there's a piece of memory wire, one single piece that goes up, down, and around, right? There's one contact here, two contacts here. When power goes through one direction, that memory wire will contract and move this plate back and forth like that. And as it does that, it pushes forward the drum. No motor. Really wild design. I loved finding out about all that stuff. Love when I get time to listen to you doing interesting stuff. Hey, man, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate an audience that likes to listen to me talk. But, like, are they recyclable at least? Maybe there might be a program to recycle them. I don't know. There's not really anything to recycle in here. So anyway, the whole thing then goes in the garbage bin when it's done. There's a rod that's attached to the plunger, and when that rod breaks contact with two springs, it knows there's only a certain number of units left. So this thing has no idea how many units it has in it, how much insulin it has in it, until it's got a certain number left. I think it's like 60-something units. So that moves out, breaks contact. This finishes its regimen, gives you all the insulin it can. Then it activates a buzzer on the outside plastic that just screams a constant scream. It just goes bee until you insert a pin tool, which breaks off a piece of the circuit board right here. So you can digitally deactivate it, or you have this little piece of circuit right here. If you break that by putting a pin through a hole right here, then it stops screaming. It has 3 coin cell batteries to power it. 1, 2, 3. 3 fixed coin cell batteries. And I think because of all the Bluetooth low energy communication that happens when using the auto pancreas system, I think they're almost dead by the time you get them. Like if you pull this thing apart. No, there's no data sheet for the chip. Unless somebody really, really sleuthy can find it. There's no data sheet for the chip that has these numbers on it, because this is a custom built for NXP. You think you found it? Share that in the stream project section. Yeah, I would like to look at that. QN9080 BLE. If I can find, that's really exciting. If I can find a data sheet on this fucking thing, what I can do is pull this out of here, because this is the only recycling that I can think that I would be able to do with these things, is to pull all the chips off with hot air. And I want to put them on my own board that I can use in the solderless breadboard, so we can throw these things into projects and stuff. And if they blow up, oh well, I get a new one in 2 days. Yeah, I could sell a couple too for fun, or give them away. Maybe give them away. But yeah, I would love to buy like 100 PCBs for these things. Footprint matches, crystals in the correct place. That's good news. That is actually really good news. That's exciting. So with the programming of this, they might lock it down in some way. I'm hoping that it's not totally locked down, and we can just reflash the whole thing with whatever code we want on it. Yeah, I'll have to look at that data sheet. Looks like a good data sheet. Ultra low power Bluetooth 5 system on chip solution. Oh, how did you find that so easily? I was struggling. to find anything related to it. USART protocol. I mean, it's pretty much like a Bluetooth modem with a bunch of accessories shoved onto it, right? Hold on, wait. There you go. Nope, that's the wrong one. Yeah, I would love to turn that into a little platform to play with. Only thing is, I have no idea what I'd be able to do with this thing. I thought that there would be a higher current switch on this thing, because I know the memory wire, in the past at least, they had their own transistors on the memory wire. There's a whole product range. Whole product range. Look at these guys. 908X, ultra low power, high performance, Bluetooth low energy, radio, controller, protocol stack, and profile software on a single chip, providing a flexible, easy to use BLE solution. It also includes a high performance 32-bit ARM. Holy crap. I'm throwing out a 32-bit ARM every 2 days. That doesn't... I hate how wasteful these things are. I hate it. That's why I'm keeping every single one. I think I've thrown out 2 or 3 of them. I think I've thrown out 2 or 3 of them before I had my change of heart and realized that I should really be keeping these things, because I will have a stack of 32-bit ARM microcontrollers at my disposal. You just, I mean, to a certain degree, everything you do in electronics, you need to treat things as kind of disposable, unless they're really expensive. Because shit happens, you know? You can't keep kicking yourself if you accidentally reverse voltage something. Oh my god, 16-bit ADC? Yeah, I guess they really want to know if they have enough power, huh? SWOD. Tick timer, fusion sense, coprocessor, complete Bluetooth stack, support, compatibility. I wonder if we could put this onto the steering wheel project. If its inherent Bluetooth stack will enable it to... How would you reflash these? I don't know, stuff. I don't know. Maybe there's some... What is it, JTAG? SWD is how you do it? Serial wire debug? I don't know the first thing about it. Yeah, so it'd be SWOD. Crystal in, crystal out, VDD, IDC. I'd have to look it up, but it's pretty promising though. I would be excited to figure that out. Making it into an Arduino would be better too, because I'm dumb. I have super dumb. I have super dumb, and I would like to foster my super dumb and not work around it. I'd rather make this into a tool that I can use while also being very dumb, because I'm very dumb. So it would be nice to make this into an Arduino, unless somebody already has. QN908X. Probably not, though. This seems like a pretty hard cooler. Imagine making these into an Arduino. I'm not imagining. Send me a couple boards? Yeah, I can do that. Absolutely. I need to set up the milling machine so that I can bust the plastic open easier. I'll basically take the whole stack one day. I'll take the whole stack of these things and I'll send them all through basically like a side cutter that'll open them up, and then I can pick all the stuff out very easily. I could also send you a couple of these whole, but I don't know if you want to get stabbed with a needle that's been in my body for 3 days. For 2 days. I'm saying 2 days because I'm being nice to myself, but... This is, by the way, this is the old technology. This is not the new technology. They've updated to the point where they have 2 microcontrollers in there. Or no, there's 2 chips in there, because what happens is one... I was an EMT, I know how to take sharp precautions. That works. I don't have any bloodborne pathogens anyway. Trying to collect them, but, you know, it's tough. Anyway, so the new system, not this one, the new one that was released like couple months ago, it actually can operate independently, so it can receive the Bluetooth low energy glucose monitor can connect to 2 devices, and so this one would connect to the pump and also the phone. So if the phone was out of range, the pump would then have instructions on how to do management, and it would get those glucose levels and continue to feedback loop independently. But Android APS requires quite a bit to function properly, so I don't know if they can get Android APS onto whatever microcontroller memory there is on the pump now. Omnipod 5 is going to be a little ways until we get the hacked system in place. Anyway, back to soldering. Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff with that. Basically, my perspective is that since I can't you know, I'm not gonna, first of all, I can't turn this back into an insulin pump. So what can I do with it? And this, by the way, is probably just I2C memory storage. But yeah, I can't turn it into an insulin pump. So what do I want to do with it? Well, if I made it into a stupid little Arduino board, we could make a bunch of different silly little projects with it. And yes, I want to program it in Arduino because I'm dumb. Didn't mean to derail the stream. That's okay. That's what the streaming's about. We're just sitting here with LEDs. Burn the subs is what we're working on. Insulin pump Arduinos. Well, they wouldn't be insulin pumps anymore. We'd just be repurposing the silicon. Yeah, the Omnipod is very fundamentally kind of wasteful, and I don't like that. But at the same time, the usage of the Omnipod is really, really, like the way that I am managing my diabetes now and able to walk around and be like a human being without a bunch of equipment attached to me. Well, at least the equipment attached to me is all on Band-Aids and nobody sees it all the time. So it is a big change in sort of how I operate, and I like that. I've had a good time with them. I don't know how long I'll be on it for. Certainly wouldn't hurt to change over to something else, but I am enjoying having everything on the patch. Makes for better clickbait. True. Reorient that so that I can... This thing slid under the LED, and so I'm having a little trouble. Little trouble bubble. Little bubble. Sorry, I've started to treat the noises that I've make to chat, like the weird way I communicate with you guys. It's very much like how I communicate with the dog now. Where did the wire go? Why is it gone? It's gone. It's gone. We lost the wire. It's what? Where did it? Son of a bitch. Why is it down there? No, you guys don't get, no, those are for Willow. Those are for Willow. You guys are on your own for treats. It was raining yesterday, so she did not poop outside, but apparently she has not pooped inside, so I guess we're good to go. I heard some noises upstairs, so I don't know if that was her playing or getting in trouble for pooping indoors. Wait, what am I doing? Hold on a minute. The fuck? Hold on a second. This is what streaming has done to me. This is what's, yeah, twiztedsizter dumped a bolus of subs on us, and it was awesome. I have two monitors when I stream, right? Two monitors. 1, 2. And the face cam is right in between them. So when I work in Fusion 360 and stuff, what I've been doing lately is putting it up here. Because when I look at this monitor, my little camera corner image thing is of me looking up and at what I'm working on instead of staring down at this monitor. This is where I typically do all the work. So what I've been doing is putting my video monitor on this one all the way over here. What I just caught myself doing was soldering under the microscope while craning my neck all the way over here instead of looking up. God, I'm dumb. Be kind to your backs, chat. You're not going to have them forever. When I am soldering, this is me looking at the video monitor. So when I'm soldering, I'm working like this, right? But looking at the other one, I was like this, which is putting strain on my neck. Yeah, usually it's a very natural position. I'm just looking a little bit to the left in order to do the soldering. And then I'm keeping my back upright as well, which will keep me from getting a hunchback. Yeah, it's just the looking over to the left thing. I do kind of need to solve that problem. I think I probably need both of these monitors to be on the top shelf. It just means that when I'm like programming and stuff, I'm going to feel so far away from everything. But I do have space for it if I just clean up a little bit. That's been my latest thing. I was talking about that at the beginning of stream, as I have been on a kick to clean up around here. I'm starting to get pretty much buried in my own hubris with all the stuff that I have. All the little bits of projects and stuff, I need to reorganize. It's a thing, though. Everybody probably is like, yeah, me too. Anyone who does this kind of stuff is like, you know, I should probably go through all those bins. Which is why it helps if you really, you know, if you want to get into a schedule, it really helps to have just a day where you don't work on stuff, you clean up the shop. You just put everything back in its place, give everything a place. And I've been bad about that. The new puppy has made me bad about that. If you would like to see said puppy, there are tons of pics of her in my pets section. We made a pets section just to hold all the pictures of cute animals that you've taken, not just any picture. It needs to be a picture that you produced. Go in that channel. Yeah, I've been taking pics and sharing them because she's cute. She's a cutie. Cutie patootie. All right, those are going to be uneven, but I'm not going to stress about it too much. Really? Why would they have you using a non-changeable tip? That's loss in productivity if you need to do something different. Tell them you can work faster if you can swap the tips out. Yeah, this is 2022. You should be able to change the tip of your iron no matter what you're buying. Yeah, that's true. To not just sit there and be overwhelmed by the scope of the project of cleanup. That's true. That's kind of what I've been doing. Just sitting there like, yup. I got too much stuff to clean. Positives going upwards, working in the same direction. Thank you for the follows, everybody. I appreciate them. Twitch has like a new system that periodically tells you like, hey, you should remind your viewers to follow. And it's like, no. Like, stop it. Stop it, Twitch. Stop taking over. We need more oranges because we've lost a ton. I have a ton though, which helps. What do we need? 4 more? Yeah, I think 4 more. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, exactly. God, so many creators were pissed off at Twitch for this stuff. I've got ads as minimalistic as I can get them. The ads that you're getting now are not something I can control. But some channels are like, all right, time to run a random ad. I guess it would make sense to be like that if you had thousands of viewers, because they're going to view you anyway, no matter what. But like, it really bugs me when a streamer is putting on ads. I don't like them. Platform, and the reason behind that, and the reason I feel strongly about that, is that Twitch was a creator space that was funded by the viewers. That's why I love the platform. It's funded by the viewers. And I guess ads have to creep into every facet of adult life, or any life these days. So here we are. We got mid-rolls, pre-rolls, double rolls. We got a sashimi. I want fish for some reason. But yeah, it's gotten bad out there. Gotta turn a profit, turn a profit, turn a profit. Change in profit, rather. Twitter's going to be a lovely place. How about those paid check marks, huh? 99%? Really? I didn't know it was that high. Less than 10 viewers, so I guess I got to pay for the small streamers. That's what from what I hear, the big movers and shakers, like are basically paying for the small streamers to be able to use the video streaming service, right? It's like all the actual stuff is really funded by the big guys and gals, and anything in between. Sometimes it's not even a human. We got streams with like fish. There's like a fish and bear stream that I watched. There's that one stream with owls too. But yeah, anyway, it's I don't know. I like the platform, like, you know, way back in the day, but here we are. And I guess it's part of the Amazon machine. It's inevitable. But I hope it's not totally irritating to you guys. I can't. Why is everything blurry? I guess the board must be crooked. The board must be a little sideways, and so it's like that mostly into place. Don't forget to remind me to buy soldering challenges. Paid blue check marks. If you're in a position to need a check mark, you're probably using Twitter enough that's worth spending $20 a month on it. I don't. But the amount of revenue that they're going to pull in versus advertising, like non-invasive advertising, because like if you do a paid check mark, you're going to lose the star power that got the check mark to be meaningful. Mostly, I don't know. I'm not an expert in this stuff, so what do I know? I should also like get these markings off of this board. This is just like a perf board that we found and cut into shreds. It has nothing to do with that website. They're not sponsoring me. They don't deserve to be prominently shown. Yeah, it's supposed to be a guarantee that you are who you say you are. So it's like, I don't know why make them pay for it. Make it a different check mark. I don't know. Plus, it's like I can't get a check mark. I don't know how to do that. Like you need to be like a super special boy to get one. I think some journalists got them, and I'm wondering how they did. I don't need no check mark. I don't need no check mark. But then how else will I collaborate with insert celebrity? Yeah. Yeah, they turned it into a brag. The reason was because people were snapping up celebrity names as their accounts too. So it was kind of a measure to keep that from becoming like the ultimate imposter platform. I remember when makers first looked at Twitter and were like, what do we do with this? And they decided that making like a chair that tweets every time you fart was like the way to go. That was like what to do with Twitter. Do you really need to do a picture of the driver's license like Facebook makes you do? My buddy had his account. It was like Big John, J-A-W-N. That's like the name he DJs under. Way back in the day when Facebook cracked down on like fake name accounts. And he made a fake ID that said Big John on it. So, well, he photoshopped an ID to say Big John. And I think he got it approved. These are weird LEDs. These LEDs are weird. They have this little tab in there that solders, not like the whole thing. Okay, so those are the LEDs laid down. Let's see how that fits into everything else. And what we'll do today is I'm just gonna wire them all up to light up at once, because there's gonna be all kinds of different voltages and stuff that will be triggering these things. So, twiztedsizter, just for somebody laughing at a joke. My God. PM me your nachos, getting a sub thanks to twiztedsizter. twiztedsizter, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I do. Yep, fits in. No components are getting in the way. We should be able to now illuminate all of these. So let's get them all working at once. We'll just put a bunch of 1K resistors on these. Never be a fart tweeting. Fart tweeting chair is still better than most of the shit on that platform. There's also a like a couple cryptic Twitter accounts where the Twitter account will tweet like what looks like just like encoded hex kind of stuff. And like I don't know, I guess people have worked to try to decrypt it and they haven't been able to figure it out. There's some weird cryptic shit going on Twitter. I drop any platform that makes me use a government ID. Yeah, that's a good limit. So I want to get these all lit up at the same time just so I can see them. which will mean we're going to have to desolder whatever I put together here. We'll do them all in parallel. We'll do parallel, and we'll give them each a resistor. I have plenty of 1Ks. These are disposable resistors, pretty much. We had trouble getting a large amount of light out of the oranges with a 1K ohm resistor, though. So the thought is maybe I should drop that a little bit. We can keep the 1K, and I'll go over 5 volts. How about that? Because that'll, if we go to like 9 volts with a 1K resistor, we might be able to get quite a bit of power out of the LED. I just don't want to harm the LEDs. Oh yeah, and I spilled coffee on this bin, so all these are stuck together. Well, some of them are. We can work freely on this side of the board. I'll just check to see the direction is correct. We'll put that over to diode mode, which is also the beep mode, which I hate. But in this case, we're actually testing diodes with it, not making beeping noises that'll cause your coworkers to want to throw a chair out of the window. That? Yeah, that is in alignment. Wait, farad? Oh, I'm on the wrong one. This is looking a little... No, I guess the screen's just like that. Might be running out of battery. Nothing. Flip it. Flip it. Test it. Okay, 1.8. That's orange. 1.8. 0.8. 0.8. 0.8. Might as well do them all now. Just making sure I'm not backwards with any of these. Man, these are almost 2 volt drop. Crazy. All right, 1.8. All right, cool. So this part, this up here is positive. So I'll just make a mark on that. Where's my Sharpie? It's out of reach. Oh, another gift. I missed a couple. Show me son getting a gift sub from twiztedsizter. Hey, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so now we can get all of our 1Ks on this thing and a hookup to the power supply, and then just a big old ground bus. Now, what would be the best way to wire this up without having to skip around? I guess the LED, the resistors can go there. I can do 4 tracks, and then we'll just skip around to do those, and then that'll be pretty easily undoable. So for the negatives, I'll just go from one end to the other. Well, resistor there, or resistor there, resistor there. The symmetry is always going to be there, I guess. Now I have angry IC emotes. Hell yeah! And that's a good thing. So from here, well, there's room I have for other electronical stuff in here. You know, I learned recently that it is actually very close to the Fry's Electronics mascot. I don't know how we got on for like nigh on 6 years of streaming, however many years. I'll mail you a $500 check if you ditch Streamlabs this month. I don't know if that's gonna. God, that is a hell of an incentive. I don't want. I'm embarrassed about that. I will drop Streamlabs though. I gotta figure out where to go. See, the thing is, he's actually good for that. And I don't want to accept that. I don't want to accept that. Thus the bribe. Oh, so the other day I found out, and Fry's Electronics is gone, so there's nobody left to like litigate me for copying their mascot. Their mascot is like a fucking like fever dream though, because it's got like a humanoid face and not like a cute like smiley face. It's really weird. There's some computer animated commercials that are just like out there I did not know that that was Fry's Electronics. What I originally intended to do was take Google Blob emotes and use those inside of a chip frame. So I had a chip, and then I had like a basic form that I could use to create emotes from there. That's it. That's all I did. But apparently, it looks exactly like fucking Fry's Electronics logo. Well, they died due to the pandemic, so here we are. Bother wins again. Yeah, and the thing is, like, because of the Google Blob emotes, it turned out to be yellow. Yellow's pretty unique and nice to have as a chip. It keeps everything light and cute and all that stuff. But yeah, Fry's Electronics, I've been in one once, and it was pretty cool. I was down in Dallas visiting a friend, and he was all about that Fry's Electronics. Yeah, they stole code from OBS and did not pay for it. And then skirted agreements and did all kinds of other shady bullshit. And yet they get money from me because I have not swapped off of the platform like everybody else did. Well, like a bunch of people did. But the problem is I need to look into that carefully because I need a certain amount of reporting to be done so that I can declare financials and all that dumb, boring garbage. Yeah, OBS is open source, but they tried to litigate and do all kinds of stupid shit. Pretty slimy business practices, basically. Why is this like cold soldering so much? I need to go back over this and make sure that they're not cold soldered. We're just trying to power it up just to get a look at it. I just want to see what it looked like. My soldering iron? No, it's still on. Hold on. I think I might need to add a little solder. Well, I'm adding solder in order to add flux, yeah. Looks like that's not even helping me. Looking at that data sheet, I'm kind of jealous. What is it super duper capable? The chip that I have in my medical device? All you need to do is get a debilitating, you know, uncurable disability, and then you get to spend all the money to buy all this medical equipment. Paul? Who's Paul? I know it's great, isn't it great? I love having to pay to live. Insulin, everybody needs insulin, by the way. Everyone. There are no exceptions. I just don't make it. Eli Lilly makes it. And I buy them sports cars in exchange. The libertarian ideal. Living out every day. Yeah, pay for oxygen on this space station. USB. Oh, it has USB. 3 power supplies, runs 16 megahertz or 32, and it has SPI. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. I like what I'm hearing. I would like to hook up a USB socket directly to the microcontroller on a board and have a nice, simple test platform made out of a device that had kept me alive for a few days. By the way, without insulin, you die. You die pretty quickly, too. It's like 48 hours. And it is a screaming, painful death. So that's all you need. Those are the only conditions if you want to get this kind of supply of microcontrollers. All right, so I'm going over these just because these are cold welding in. Hopefully the LEDs aren't doing too much. They should be anchored on their opposite pin anyway. Chip mode, yeah, I saw that. You can pull down just the chip mode and get into SPI. Programming mode, Hello. And thank you. What kind of lockouts are there, though? I'm guessing that whatever's in there already is locked out. I'll have to see what the new system has, if it's possible to read that chip at all. That'd be kind of interesting if on this silly little, zany little Twitch stream, we were able to move Android APS into the new generation of technology. just by figuring out where the programming pin was and figuring out how to take over the system. All right, now for resistors. So I'm going to do 1 resistor per. I made this thing for the Rally for Reason back in the day. You know, that Jon Stewart Colbert rally that they did in DC. I decided that since I'm an indomitable Redditor at the time, that I would make a big light up Reddit arrow on a piece of poster board, and I'd just be able to run around and give like a big visual up and down vote to everything that I saw, which was fun. But what I did for the banks of LEDs was I left too many LEDs in the banks, and I powered it because lithium-ion batteries were harder to source and play with back then, and I didn't have them. So I had a bunch of 9-volt fixed cells on the thing. So with 9 volts going into these very large banks of LEDs, when the thing dropped from 9 volts from just a little bit of usage, it would just go blank. So a lesson in the future is that if you have banks of LEDs that you want to power and you're a battery-powered device, having smaller banks of LEDs will allow your voltage to fluctuate more. It was stupid. It was just stupid. I did a big stupid. So I'm just doing individual resistors on all these because these will eventually be split off and paralleled. Probably should be paralleling them the way that they will be in the final thing, but right now I just want to light them all up at maximum brightness. Because we're trying to see what the panel looks like and whether or not we're good with it being on orange LEDs or what. Oh, that does not go there. Bada bing. On to the next. Why do some of these seem closer together than others? This is just my perception of what's here. That was a fun little project because I just took this accelerometer board. I didn't have like an Arduino accelerometer at the time. I just took like a basic, what was it? Arduino Pro Mini, and I hooked it up to this accelerometer board that I was going to use for my senior project in college, and that created the ability to register when you reach a certain acceleration in one direction or the other. So when you'd flick the board upwards, it would go up, and you flick it down, and it would go down. And I forget how I turned it off. Maybe there's like a sideways or something like that. Maybe I didn't turn it off, and that's why I ran out of batteries so easily. I tried to copy the pixel placement of the up and the down, but I didn't do any color matching for the orange and the blue. It's supposed to be more of a reddish orange. Oh well. Bonk. Go. I'll come back to those. I'm just anchoring them down right now. I'm gonna anchor them down so they stay put when I solder the other side. And if we apply heat for too long, it'll actually heat up the whole chip through the resistor material, through the resistive material, and it'll actually solder the other side. Oh wait, no, not there. My right hand was acting independently. All right, on to the next. Please. There you go. When you get too much flux on the tweezers, it's very annoying. It'll hold on. They'll tend to hold on to stuff for a little bit longer, and so it's more difficult to position things. And when I'm doing stuff with like resistors, I'm flipping them around all over the place in order to get the proper positioning of my hands and all that stuff. So when there's flux on the tweezers, I get very frustrated at what I'm doing. If it has native USB, that means that you could use that SPI pin to put in a bootloader, right? And then you can just run off of the bootloader. Oh God, does that mean I need to invent a bootloader? I don't want to program a boot. That's for like people with like big overgrown brains, like pulsating brains. And they sit there in their little thrones and they go, yes, I'm going to program a bootloader. And then some goblin off to their side goes, yes, of course, master. And they go get like a whole fucking case of Monster Energy drink. Yeah, I don't want to have to invent a bootloader. Ah, that was a pain in the butt. Okay, almost there. We gotta go back through all this stuff and solder down the resistors. I don't know why somebody always has to point out that my resistors aren't oriented the same way, because it's the furthest thing from what I'm trying to accomplish is getting all the resistors in the same direction. Now, as such, for those of you that don't know, a resistor is a passive element in a circuit, and it is designed to turn current into heat. What it's doing for these LEDs is it's providing, basically it's turning the LED into something that uses current instead of causing a short circuit. Because the LED will do that and it'll damage itself. So we put a resistor in there just to turn some of that current into heat and to keep too much from flowing across this particular branch of the circuit. However, it's a resistor. It is simply just an element that does not allow the electrons to pass as freely. It doesn't have polarity. It doesn't have any of that kind of stuff. It has markings on it, and those markings happen to be in, well, Sanskrit, I don't know, fucking English, and they have a direction as a result. But it does not matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what direction it's in. You guys need to just let go. Just let go. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna make it. We're gonna make it, chat. You don't have to worry. There's literally no point in doing that. Those with OCD might be bothered by it. That you don't know what OCD is if you think that. Those with OCD might have to turn the light switch on until their hands bleed, or else. I mean, like, that's not, OCD is totally different. I know people like things that look neat, but you cannot worry about resistor direction in this hobby. You will kill yourself. Just don't worry about it. You gotta let go. All right, so now I need to basically put down another track on the other side of all those resistors. We're just wiring them up very simply so that I can throw them onto the power supply. They're probably going to use quite a bit of current, but in their final forms, there will be a variety of voltages running to these things, a variety of voltages and a variety of sources running to them. Like, for instance, the two bottom ones here. Yeah, the two bottom ones here are running from status pins on the power supply itself. Are these full of wire? I think they're full of wire. Probably means there should be like a connector on this. Probably like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like a 6-pin connector. Okay, there's that. All right, a couple more traces down this path. I'm not gonna have a lot of room to wire stuff. There's probably gonna be a lot of stuff going on in between the ovals then. Or I can make a PCB. Fun. I really don't want to have to do that. Good on that. That looks a little cold, doesn't it? The reason it looks cold, like a cold joint, is that darkness right there. And that might be the edge of the resistor that I'm seeing. But it could have just enveloped the wire instead of soldering to it, which is kind of a theme that we have going with this wire. And that is the fabled cold soldering joint. That's what we're always worried about when we build stuff like this. That's why we use flux, because flux will, well, cleaning flux, I guess. Flux will displace any of the oxygen that's on the outside of this, anything oxygenated, and also it'll keep oxygen from getting in there, and then it'll create a nice, nice exposed metal for the solder to sort of get familiar with on a grain level, on an atomic level. It will coat that metal and get into the grain structure, but not become an alloy. It will not become an alloy. It will just get close to the grain structure and hug it. So I'm gonna take the flux pen out again. We'll just nip this one in the bud and just basically touch it to each one of these, just to make sure that this wire is exposed to enough flux to clean it up and get it to attach properly. We ain't running a Louis Rossmann style outfit here. We don't need a ton of flux. Flux does help you work. It helps hold the heat in, and all kinds of other good things come from flux. But at the same time, it is sticky and sloppy, and I do not want it all over this project, because we're not going back to clean it up. All that solder just went in the other direction. Coderushed! Hey, Coderushed, how's it going? What y'all doing? Raiding with a party of 8. Should not be holding heat here. Damn it. Probably need to use the tweezers. Y'all doing, Coderushed? Jeez, this one is not cooperating. It's because I have this massive wire behind it. We'll just get the tweezers in there, and then I can have all the control that I need. Come on. There's a giant dollop of solder on the opposite side now. Just a huge blob. I didn't think progress would be this slow. I mean, I should have known, to be honest. These soldering streams are visually very pleasing, and they're cool, and it's fun to give people tips and everything. But at the same time, progress is not quick. I can whip a circuit up like this in much less time, but I'm explaining everything as I go. Where's the... Okay, there it is. Jeez, it took forever. What's going on with this thing? I'm guessing the other side's going to look crazy with all these giant blobs sticking out. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it took a while. It took a while to find the right stuff and what works for stream. I thought I did that one already. I guess not. I suppose I did not do that one already. Actually, I need this here as a platform. And then we go over here, push down, actually a little closer. Okay, and then this is like falling in. I've got to pick that up so we don't lose the camera focus. The field of vision is very, very narrow on the close-up cam. Yeah, that's a Logitech webcam. It just has a special case around it. I just got done soldering for 8 hours, and now I'm watching you do it. Hey, man. Hey, man. You know, sometimes you learn stuff. I don't know if I would. Yeah, it's fun to hang out and have a little project to do while we bitch about stuff. Making our way in the world today. It takes everything we got. The problem with what's happening with this wire is that the very tip of it is soldering and not there. That looks coated. See, that looks coated. I don't have as good of an example, as broad of an example as I usually do with cold welding on this thing. Because when you get to a certain point, you see something that's cold welding, you can peel the wire out of that cold weld and it'll leave behind like the little divot that was surrounding it, just because it was mechanically seated and not actually soldered down. Oh, Where's my iron that I just did right there? That's the most dangerous time for soldering, because I'm viewing what you guys are viewing, right? I'm literally looking at an OBS window in order to get all these, get my hands in position, get the soldering iron in position, do everything, you know, correctly and all that stuff, right? I'm looking at the same thing you guys are looking at, and as such, when I don't know where the iron is, I will wave it back and forth, and when you wave it back and forth, you don't really know where it is. You can end up hitting yourself in the hand with it. I used to do that a lot on the microscopes at my old job. You just boop, oops, that was 600 degrees Fahrenheit right up against my finger. And sometimes the skillful soldering stuff requires you to get a little bit in the heat, but it's never a good time when you bash into your fleshy hand with a 600 degree. No, it was, I might have gotten a lot of finger oil on it just by stripping it the way I did, but this wire is generally usually pretty good at soldering. It's meant for wire wrapping, so I don't know, but basically it was jacketed, and then I removed the jacket. If it smells like burnt chicken, you're doing it wrong, yeah. Oh my God, even this is just too much. Simple 1K LED circuit for each of these orange LEDs, and I wired them not in the way that they will be wired in the end. In the end, I want two of these to be like one. I might do them in parallel, so I'd have two resistors, and then it's a little bit more complicated of a circuit there to wire up. I don't necessarily want two diodes in series. I could do that, but I don't know. I think that'll mess with the calculations a little bit. Why? Yeah. Flip the polarity to have one or the other light up. Why? What? Do you think about what you type before you type it, or is it just free flow? Okay, there's that. Then remove this. Then I gotta parallel them. Look at that. Let's see. What shall I do here? Well, I have wire. That's one wire. I can get the other one from over here. Oh my God, there's so much stuff going on upstairs. There's like all this noise. I don't know what's happening. Look, I just heard a ceramic pot get put down right over my head. There's like a thunk. What's going on? Why do I hear these noises? I guess we'll just go direct, because I could just, this is negative, or which one? Oh, crap. I forget what the orientation is. Hold on. It doesn't matter where the resistor is as long as it's on the circuit, but I did it uniformly for all these, and I don't know what's up and down now. I don't know which one's positive and negative. As soon as I put a wire on it that is brown, or sorry, red or black, then I will know which one is positive and negative. But it's easy to mix up until then. Back to diode mode. Back to diode town. Population diodes. Not that direction. Positive is towards me. Or there was, nope, yep, see there, lit up. Boop. Maybe can't quite see it. Yeah, the diode mode will light up your diodes and help you characterize everything that you're putting into your circuit. So if you're having trouble, just grab the multimeter. But positive is this way. The resistor goes towards ground. Okay, cool. Now that I know that, we can go back to this view. Now that we know resistor goes towards ground, and because these two circuits are like this, I need to like jump over. So let me just get the ground wire on first, I guess. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Damn it. I'm trying to go fast just because I want to, you know, I want to show this. And as such, going fast is difficult because you run into all of these issues that then people think they're better than you for not having. Like your solder not having a lot of flux behind it and not attaching to the wire properly. Well, this is eventually going to carry all of the indicator lights that will tell me if Burn the Subs is operating properly. Right now, I just want to light them all up so that we can know what it's going to look like. Ah, damn it. Parallax is killing me. I don't have any depth vision. The ones that we would use, the microscopes that we'd use when I was in the more professional operation than this, were, they had this spinning hexagonal lenticular lens. And that spinning lens allowed you to have, I guess, just like an area view of a dual lens objective. And so what would end up happening is you could position your head anywhere around the like hood at the top of the microphone at the top of the microscope, and you were viewing it in 3 dimensions. Both of your eyes had a unique picture of what was going on, and as your head moved, it would still get a unique position. So you didn't have to like cuddle up to a dual eye setup. You could just look into the thing and see a 3-dimensional. It was like those QuickTime event games that they had at arcades that would have a little hood that you'd look into. And you'd see the little 3D person. You have to hit one button and just in time, or else it would eat your quarters, and then it would just eat your quarters. It was like those. Oh, that's actually gross wire. I don't really need to reuse the wire. I don't know why I'm doing it. But I was looking to buy one. I think it was called the Scorpion. They also use them for microscopic inspection of like factory stuff, because then your inspector does not have to crane their neck. It's much more healthy. That means you don't have to pay lawsuits for bad ergonomics. But you see them in sci-fi all the time. It's the, you know, that's a Booklight subreddit or whatever it is. But the microscope you see in any sort of like, and I've seen them in The Expanse, I've seen them in a bunch of modern stuff too, but you'd see them all the ways in the background. I think I even saw one in The Next Generation, or no, Star Trek Enterprise. I think I saw them in the background. Sometimes even in just regular shows. Any forensics lab. Okay, half of that is not soldering. Okay, that's good enough. Good enough. All right, so I need to jump over from one to the other. I guess I could just do that on the surface here. Jump over from one to the other, and that's going to allow current to flow to both of my devices at once, my right sides and my left sides of the indicator. We didn't have to do it this way, but we did. You guys made me. You made me do this. And so now you shit your bed. Now you have to sleep in it. I gotta move the wires, the input wires. I'll jump ground over, and then I'll put a red wire in to do power. How is that hair right there not melted? Dog hair on the end of my soldering iron. All right, so I should have done this first. Come on. Ugh, you bastard. All right, we'll do this first, and then I'll come back and fix that. What a bastard. Oh my god. Okay, so there. And we'll just do this. Loop. And then this one. Yeah, this stuff is a little bit artisanal, what we're working on right now. It takes a little bit of skill to put together. So it takes time, which, you know, nobody ever wants to give you time to work on stuff. That'll be good enough. Make sure I don't cut both of these at once. Like, for instance, this board has taken us 5 hours to build. Which is wild. That's just wild. It's just like a parallel LED circuit. I'll just solder it in both places. Solder it here. Hello? Okay, there we go. And then I should have freedom to work right here. Yeah, and this time I would have been able to design the PCB in Fusion and order it. And then wait 2 days for it to come in the mail from whatever supplier as a $5 service. So take that into context. But we didn't know if the LEDs would look good or not, so committing to them on a PCB would not be a great idea. And maybe I will make a PCB in the end. Just design one, just because it's easy. All right, red wire. Let's just do this really clunky. I'll just jump over. Trying to tin these has been kind of difficult. We'll just do it up here. We want, so that's negative, so we can just go anywhere. We want to go, yeah, here. So yeah, okay, I'll just do that. We'll just do it sloppy. We'll do a sloppy job of it, doesn't matter. Test board. Who dis? Damn it. There you go. That was a lot more difficult than it looked. I gotta get the knife out of the area where my hands are like, I haven't cut myself in a weird way with that knife yet, but man, has it really set itself up for a nice like Final Destination style, you know, bullshit where like my one hand bumps the other and it puts the fucking knife straight into my my wrist or something. It's bad. It's bad. It's real bad out here, guys. I wish I could have held that down. Everything flowed over so nicely, and then it all lifted up because the wire isn't perfectly bent. You learn to live, laugh, and love with these kinds of things. Yeah, God, it really does set itself up for that, with the knife just casually sitting on the table. Okay, there's a positive and our negatives. Now we can attach the wires. Can they reattach those yet? I think they can. I think if the cut is that clean. I don't know. It's always a little bit weird doing that. That one, they should probably stick straight out, huh? Oh, that's gonna move when I try to solder it, isn't it? Oh no, that was relatively well done. Okay, cool. So there's our LED board. Let's take a look at it. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. All this is a bunch of LEDs in parallel, so it's just an illumination thing. Our leads are still energized. Please work. All right. Not very bright, but it doesn't need to be very bright. It needs to look good. So in this, where does it center? Yeah, just like that. That would be all systems go. Now, if I take the voltage up, go to 6 volts. 7 volts. Those will probably get a little warmer, but they're pretty well visible. It looks good. So I'll need to work on making this into something that actually something that actually has the right pinouts. Let's see, can I do turn off the lights and then this one? Oh, that doesn't show up on camera at all. Wow. That does not show up on camera at all. It looks really good from my perspective. It looks really good from my perspective. Turn all the lights back on. That's a nice little glow behind it, and I think orange complements it pretty well. I'm hoping that when we turn this thing on, they're not all just going to light up at once, but it might. It might. So that's AC okay, bus okay, 24 volts okay, 12 volts and then 5 volts. And the 12 and the 5 are going to come from 2 voltage regulators that I got in this bin right here. I need to order stuff for next stream. I would like to get a soldering challenge. I want to do a soldering challenge on camera. I think that would be nice. It would be a fun thing to do like on a Friday. Let's see. What else do I need to get? Oh, I need to get the fastener that's going to hold the power supply on. We're still waiting on this part, even though I think it's going to get here before when they thought it was, which was like, when did they say it was going to get here? Like December? Because the only ones that I could find, the only ones here that I could find, that these are fluid connectors, and you can find them all over the place, but they're like $15 each. I found $6 ones on Alibaba, so I'm forced to wait for Alibaba shipping. Once we get all the voltages sorted out, we've got the DB connector over here, got all of our hardware on the board, we have a power supply mounted and ready to provide power to all of these devices. Then we go up into the control panel and we do switching equipment and water cooling stuff. So switching equipment like what's going to turn the 12-volt pump on and off. And then how are we going to cool the ground plane behind the TMC chips? But I want to get the power all there first. So we'll have at least like a test bed. We'll have a platform that I can plug in and out and turn on and off day to day. Cool. This has not been very long. We finished this in 3 hours. We got this thing done. But I don't have anywhere that I want to go after this because this has sort of been handled. I mean, I guess it would have been nice if I could have turned off one of these to see the light bleed from one to the other, but these will be functional, and the orange gives it a decent look. It doesn't look like anything. It's like not trying to be what it's not. It just looks like a panel that's lit up. There are these little like point sources of light, and I think that's where the filament is acting a bit weird. Like not like fiber optics, but I think those are the gaps in the different layers going in. If I had gone all in the same layer, I mean, there was that glass print setup that I could have tried. I don't know. Can you like offset layers a little bit so that you can control and keep them from glittering like that? I guess I could use, well, one thing that I did want to do, and I'm not going to do it for these at this point, but do an insert. If I were to get the 3D print to go for a certain amount of time, drop an insert in, and then have it print around that. But I don't think it would seal that in, and I don't think the numbering would stick to the insert. Yeah, I don't know. This works, though. This way we have floating numbers inside, and we have just big Fisher-Price-sized LED indicators to tell us what's going on. I don't think I'm going to design a PCB. I think we can continue with this. I can attach the other regulators either to this or, I don't know, maybe I could put them down here. I have to figure that out because we're going to have 12 volts going out of this for the laser. 24 volts goes up for the... Can the laser do 24 volts? I got to look at that power supply. TTL laser, power to the laser. Power for the lighting, 2 stepper motors. I think we're going to use a lot of this 15-pin connector. I think we won't have too many extra things. So, okay, well, thank you for joining me. Today was a little bit short, but we accomplished our task in record time, and it works well. So, Those two are going to short out, aren't they? Yep. These stupid things. These stupid leads keep shorting out. See, that's going to go under there and look awesome. Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Hey, wow. 1024. It's an important number. Hey, thank you for gifting or whatever. Thank you for giving me 1024 bits. That's awesome. That money will go directly into this kind of bullshit that you see here. Bus and sus. Yep. So I gotta order the hardware in order to mount the this bolt right here. Has to be a 3mm, and it's got to be huge. So yeah, I got a kilobyte of bits. Is a bit of byte, a bit byte of bleh, bleh. Anyway, yeah, in the future, what's happening? We've got a lot of different projects that I want to get to. One of the primary ones is my friggin' milling machine over there is not functional right now. Something's wrong with the DRO, and it would behoove me to take it apart and clean it and put it back together. I want to have burn the subs operating by the time I work on that. Another project is I would love to build a test bed, a little test platform, you know, like an Arduino Pro Mini style thing that uses the chips that power my insulin pumps. I go through these things about like every 2 days. I've been able to get them to eke out a little longer than that, and as I lose weight, that'll get better and better. But it really feels very wasteful to be throwing away an entire one of these microcontrollers every single time. Apparently this thing has an entire Bluetooth stack in it. It has USB capabilities as well as serial programming capabilities. So we can get into this, and we can get this to be sort of the Pro Mini that I use on this channel. And that way, if I blow one up, it's not that big of a deal. It's supposed to be thrown out anyway. Here's the other side of the panel, by the way. I think I need to order another input, AC power input. I definitely need to order another switch because it broke the one today. And then we'll wire that up. That'll get a circuit breaker that's already mounted in the back of there. I don't really think the circuit breaker is all that necessary, but I'm going to put it in anyway because there's not really much else in terms of protection for this 24-volt power supply. And from there, I guess things will just keep rolling. Have the resistors been evaluated at different voltages, or will they illuminate at different levels of the higher voltages? They will illuminate differently with higher voltages. With an LED, you're doing a V equals IR equation. And so if you change the parameters, the V or the I, you are going to change the V or the R, you are going to accordingly change the I, which is the current. So V equals IR really does basically have a stranglehold on this entire hobby. It's everywhere, and you can't get away from it unless you do like an LED driver circuit. But anyway, what will have to happen is I'll have to do the equations for 5.1, 12, etc. Now, I could run all of these off of the 5-volt bus or the 12-volt bus, or even the 24-volt bus, and have them switched by transistors or optical isolators. And so that way, the other voltages, well, that way I don't have to tune what all the LEDs look like. I know they'll all look uniform in this thing. And typically the operation of this circuit, all of these will be illuminated. The important one will be seeing whether or not the Raspberry Pi like tanks the 5-volt regulator or something, or the pump turns on, does it kill 12 volts? So if you use a transistor to trigger the LED, then you can have it a lot more sensitive to anything going on. If 5.1 drops down to 5 volts, it'll look pretty much the same. But if you put the transistor on there, you can get it out of being biased with 0.1 volts, and this will turn off. So I got to think about whether or not I want to do that. And if I do, I'll probably want to create... No, I could probably fit that on here. But I may want to make a PCB for it. All right. So I have a little bit of homework to do. I have some ordering of stuff to do, and I have a puppy to play with upstairs. So I'm going to go do that. I leave you guys to dissipate and go wherever you need to go. We had a coderushed raid today. What else? We also had twiztedsizter like taking over and being so generous. If you guys got a gift sub from twiztedsizter, thank him, because he's been a friend of me and a friend of the show for quite some time now. He's an awesome guy, and he just comes in here and starts throwing his weight around. but always feels like, asks me after, is it okay if I did that? I'm like, You don't got to apologize for nothing. But he loves this kind of stuff. He was going to stream it a little bit. That hasn't happened yet. But yeah, you guys go to where you need to go. Here's the end card. Bop. We didn't do a lot today, but that was something that I wanted to see. That opens up the ability to do a bunch more with this thing. The orange LEDs are going to work just fine. I think that's got a great look to it, and that's a really important thing. It's a really important thing. That's one of the things that the engineers stressed to me when I worked at an audio engineering place. They said, like, one of the most important steps is to balance the resistors on all of your indicators and to sit in a dark room with the device for a little while and make sure that everything is balanced and readable and doesn't hurt your eyes. That was an important thing. So we're doing important work here, chat, by playing with LEDs all day. But anyway, join me on the various social media on the social medias that I've listed if you feel like it. And I will catch you guys on the flip side on Thursday, 1 day, 20 hours and 40 minutes about from now. Have a good one.